5-1.
All right, everybody, welcome to Cleveland Moto episode number 351. That's Windsor or Cleveland if you're from here. When you say 351, I say Cleveland. Yeah, and that's how you know you got power under the hood. One of the best Ford motors ever created was the 351 Cleveland. Made in Cleveland. Not 6 miles from where we're standing or where we're sitting. So that's if you are a big fan of old cars, if you like Italian sports cars like the Di Tommaso Pantera, that had a 351 Cleveland in it. So, you know, that motor found its way into a lot of awesome vehicles. So
one of the last nice days last fall, I saw a beautiful red Di Tommaso Pantera in Mentor.
Yeah.
I did not expect to see it in Mentor.
Well, there are a number, which is kind of a really weird thing because that car, there's a lot of people in Cleveland that have it out of this kind of sort of solidarity for that motor being in it. Because look, Ferrari, Lamborghini, they weren't using 351 Clevelands. No. But fucking Di Tommaso was. So God bless us.
You know what? And it held up. It's a good looking car.
It's a great looking car. Yeah, absolutely. So that's rad as hell. So episode 351. That's badass. Today here in real time, but not for the listeners, is Veterans Day.
Yes.
So Veterans Day, as to anybody out there that ate the giant shit sandwich, yay! Here's a tip: don't tell a veteran thank you for your service. It has gotten weird. As a veteran, I'll be happy to tell you.
Phil, fuck you for your service.
Exactly, right. Because that's kind of the way most guys feel about it. Look, we were 17 or 18 when we signed up. It was that or jail or college we couldn't afford or something else. Maybe we had gotten the wrong girl pregnant. Whatever. There were choices that were being made. And your choice is never, I want to go somewhere else and earn $3. Well, actually, when I was in, it was $1.68 an hour.
Oh.
When minimum wage was like $3 an hour.
Right. Yeah.
The military is just
free food and board though.
That's
Room
exactly
and board,
it. If you want food that somebody else tells you can eat and a bed that somebody else tells you can sleep on, and if you want to make that bed to somebody else's standards for the rest of your fucking career, you're like, oh, it's 3 hots and a cot. That's great. Except for you have to keep that cot and eat those meals and clean. Like every time you eat food, it's out of a dish that you probably cleaned, right?
They had you at free crayons.
Yeah. No, I wasn't in the Marine Corps. I was in the Army. Marines, they hooked the Marines in with the free crayons. Yeah. Damn. But as a tanker, so that's my tank up there. So you guys see that's an M1A1 Army tank. Nice. That's what I was in charge of. I wasn't always a motorcycle and scooter enthusiast. That little bad boy right there has got 1,500 horsepower out of a General Dynamics diesel turbine engine that you can usually find in a helicopter.
How many miles per feet does that get?
It really does. So how many gallons to the mile?
Yeah.
So that's the weird thing about military vehicles. People are like, dude, 1,500 horsepower. That thing holds over 700 gallons of diesel.
Jeez.
And I would get replenished daily. So if you want to make 700 gallons of diesel disappear, that bad boy right there, for $66 million US taxpayer dollars, we can find a hole to throw 700 gallons of diesel in.
Now, in a pinch.
Pinch.
Say you were stuck.
Yeah.
Could you use like fry oil?
Well, you know, so the idea, and that's a fucking good question, actually, because military vehicles are multi-fuel. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea with an M1 tank is it is a multi-fuel vehicle. It will burn anything you put in it. There is one caveat that I bet you only tankers know. You can't use the heater. Oh. Okay, because this doesn't have a heating system like your car where you've got a radiator and some hot water goes through a separate, radiator, right. And they blow air through it, and that makes the passengers inside nice and toasty. This doesn't have a radiator. This is a turbine. It's a helicopter motor. So
the heat is blowing right out the back.
Oh, the heat's going out the ass end. So everything out the back, if you stand behind that tank for more than 4 seconds, you are not human. You're not. You're a dragon of some sort. What we used to do is, so we're going to start by saying that the heaters in those vehicles, as many military vehicles, the heaters are made in Cleveland. Huh. And the heater is, strangely enough, its own little turbine. So the heater looks like a boom box. It's cylindrical, and it's cylindrical, and it's mounted vertically, and it has diesel fuel going into it with a little pump. Tick 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 tick. It has a lighter, a wick, an electronic wick. And when the wicks fail, you can actually use a Zippo wick. Field expedient. And in every platoon, there's one dude who knows how to fix the heaters. And I'm that guy. In my platoon, I was that dude. And the guy who can fix the heaters is worth all the good parts of an MRE. If you want to get all the best parts of an MRE for the rest of your platoon, be the good heater guy. And how you can find the good heater guy is you go out on a cold, rainy morning and you look in the motor pool. And all the tanks will be a little bit shiny because they're wet. Because that Kark military paint, when it's wet, it has kind of a nice little luster to it.
Sheen.
It has a sheen. But you see the 2 or 3 tanks in the motor pool that are dry?
That's your guy.
That's your guy. He's the guy who knows how to fix the fucking heaters. Now, why do we talk about multi-fuel vehicles? Because that heater in that M1 tank runs only on diesel. So if you're going to run it on JP4, which is kerosene, which is jet fuel, if you're going to run it on JP4, you're going to run it on JP8, you're going to run it on MoGas, that's regular pump gas. You cannot run the heater. The heater becomes a flamethrower if you're running anything but diesel through it. So now, of course, in the military, when I was in, we had plenty of diesel. Our diesel cup ranneth over. So we had no problem getting diesel. We never had to have that problem. But that is a multi-fuel heater that was designed to run on gasoline. Our military used to run on gasoline. Jeeps ran on gasoline. Jeeps didn't run on diesel. Right. So that heater was originally built for vehicles.
Didn't Shermans have like 2 Cadillac motors in them?
2.
Yeah.
Yep, 2. And some of the tanks actually had a radial engine, an airplane, a big radial engine, a multi-cylinder radial engine. So they all ran on gasoline, which is an incredibly bad idea in the battlefield, you know. But these heaters were around since World War II, and they were actually retrofitted to run from gasoline onto diesel, which means they didn't work ever right the way you wanted them to. They'd stay warm for like, when the tank was new for like 2 weeks, the heater worked. And then after that, the heater didn't work anymore. And you'd have to find me to go in and take the heater out and then take all the scavenged parts off of other broken heaters and fix them yourself. Because if you couldn't deadline your tank because the heater didn't work. Deadline means it's not functioning. You have to fix my tank first. So you couldn't deadline your tank because the heater didn't work because that's a luxury item. Yeah, tell that to your friend when he's in fucking Hohenfels, you know, or Czechoslovakia or somewhere, and it's negative 26 degrees Frankenstein.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you're not going to live long.
Didn't you say something about the Tank Centipede? That was the way to warm
So that
them
was
up.
our trick. So we would do the Tank Centipede, and you'd take as many tanks as you needed to get hot, and you'd all park them in a very slow curve so that the exhaust coming off the tank in front of you was warming up the tank in front. And that has killed more drivers, I think, than actual military conflict. Because the only way that it would work is you'd have the driver's hatch open. So you'd have to have the driver's hatch open. So the diesel exhaust, that's right, diesel exhaust would blast through the tank and give you that full tank heating, that central air.
Sweet buzz, too.
So the driver, so the rest of the guys in the tank would be like, I'm fucking cold. But the driver would be down there in his fucking skivvies, just smelling like diesel for the rest of his life. And again, guys, the VA is not for getting shot. It's not for getting your leg blown off. It's for inhaling too much diesel fumes. It's for being next to pit fires, garbage fires and pit fires and shit. More peacetime shit has killed good people, I think, in the past 50 years than actual battle.
I just watched a mini like a Vice documentary or something on the burn pits.
Yes.
And all the guys that are so sick.
Ridiculous. That's the whole thing is like, nobody ever builds a sanitation system when they start like, hey, this is going to be Tent City, and Tent City is going to become a goddamn green zone for 200,000 people. Mm-hmm. Well, now Tent City had, a burn pit for like, enough poop for 200 people or whatever. Right. Now it's dealing with 200,000 people, and they're still dealing with it the same way. And they're burning old computers. They're burning all kinds of stuff that's just full of carcinogens. And of course, guess what? When you fuck up in the military, you go on pit detail. Mm-hmm. So like when you're deployed, when you fuck up back in garrison, there's whole things called Article 15s, and there's extra duty and stuff that you have to do. We were talking about that earlier. And, my experiments with alcohol when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. But but when you're deployed, the best thing they can do is like, well, I'm not going to send you home so you can be in the brig at home, or I'm not going to send you home to the barracks to do extra duty. Well, now you got pit detail, which means you got to literally go out and be the guy who consistently pumps diesel or JP4, jet fuel, into these fire pits. And that guy, he gets cancer 7.5 minutes after he shows up for his detail. He's already has cancer. Right. That's it. Forget about it. So, and then everything on the tank, remember we fire bullets that are made out of depleted uranium.
Oh, good.
That's a good starting point. And then everything we shoot is now full of depleted uranium. And radioactivity half-life doesn't go away just because you shoot it downrange.
It's like our streets in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Another 35 years of being irradiated.
Right. Well, that's that whole liquid de-icer thing. Right. So yeah, that's great. So anyway, that's it for my veterans out there. If you're a veteran, you understand and you know when I tell you that thank you for your service. It's one of those things that's like in the Catholic Church when somebody says, peace be with you, you are trained to say, and with you too, right?
And also with you.
And also with you. Exactly, right? So we all know there's a thing. So when people are like, when the trick-or-treater comes to your house and goes, trick-or-treat, you look back at that 8-year-old straight in the eye and you go, trick-or-treat, like there is no call and response, right? And so for military people, you're like, thank you for your service. And I'm going to be like, and the real answer, look, the honest to God answer is, I didn't do it for you. I'm going to be 100% honest as we can be on this podcast. Thank you for your service. I didn't do it for you. You were not part of the equation. I did not go to defend freedom.
Right.
I went because I had less tasteful options at home. I went because I'd rather pump gas for the Army than pump gas for Shell Oil at the corner of my street. Right. Yeah, because apparently when you're pumping gas in an M1 tank, it doesn't matter that it's not your tank. You're still pumping gas. Yeah.
There's so many homeless guys out there that went to the Goodwill and got all the military stuff, and they're all in Denny's today, and they're saying, "Thank me for
they're
my
getting
service."
their free fucking pancake." Yeah. I never ever accepted a military discount ever anywhere because it just was kind of freaked me out. I was like, I don't want to be an asshole. Like, I don't need it that bad. But there is that element of like, oh, well, you know what? If I don't get it, the guy who just stole a set of BDUs or like you said, thrift store, the guy, that's how old I am. I call them BDUs. Yeah.
Today is the day though. Today, every dude with an old police car.
Oh yeah,
and all the black vests with all the acromons and stuff like that are out there, and they're taking all of your guys.
They're being super tactical today. Yeah, they're being super tactical. What do they call it? I don't know. There was a phrase Ryan used about that, like tactical chic thing. But yeah. So anyway, there we go. So that's my old ride. Yeah.
I just that would be really kind of cool to bump into somebody that was like super fucked up, and you're like, so what'd you serve? Like Civil War, and you're like, oh. Okay.
I was Agent Orange. Yeah, that's it. Deep cover. I was Agent Orange. So that's cool. To my left,
Chris Smith
and I were doing a little pre-gaming today.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of the ClevelandMoto Podcast, what did we do, Chris?
We hit the Porco.
Fuck yeah, we did.
And we had a Roman twist.
We had Roman twists. And then we did the Phil Waters move, which is when you're done with the Roman twist, you get a Royal Jamaican and you wash your ice off. Yeah. Because I paid for that liquor, I'm going to drink every drop of it.
And we slammed down a
smash burger.
Smash
burgers. Yeah, right.
Very nicely done over at the
Porco. They have got that smash burger thing fucking figured out.
What is a smash burger?
It's a little tiny, well, it's not there's a slider.
Right.
Thank God that phase is done. I'm done with that bullshit. Yeah. So there's a slider and then there's a traditional cheeseburger and then a smash burger is kind of like in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason they call them smash burgers?
I think they use one of those
patty smasher.
On the flat top when they cook it.
Okay.
And there were 2 burgers and then there was pickles and
they could probably cook them like, in 12 seconds on a hot grill. So
it was nicely done.
It was nicely done. And Porco is just that kind of thing where after COVID and all these bars that we love are starting to get their gears up and they're starting to come back and figure it out again. Cause you can fucking take a year and a half off from any job. You're going to be bad at it when you come back. And so they are getting their wheels spinning again. It was fun. It was great. So Chris met me over at the warehouse cause we're taking some of his bikes and putting them in storage. So he's doing the nice thing. He's doing the Christian thing and riding them over so that I don't have to transport them over there. So then he rides them over, but I meet him there.
With 2 bikes.
With 2 bikes that I'm taking over for my customers, right? So it's multitasking of the highest order. And yesterday when we were done doing the bike drop-off, he dropped off his big Moto Guzzi, California yesterday. We left there and we went over to the guys at Skidmark Garage who are leaving their, what is that, 100,000 square feet? It's massive.
Huge, yeah.
This huge warehouse. they've got finally like a nice place where the roof doesn't leak and the electricity isn't all made from extension cords, right? So they got a new fancy place that you could probably not get, frostbite in the wintertime.
Rabies
But one of our buddies there, Greg Castillo, I think he might have even popped in on a podcast. Greg Castillo was there, and he sold me this Zundap R50 motor scooter that's right in front of us, this German piece of Teutonic history. It's actually real. You can touch it. It has a German license plate for $300. Now, no title, and it probably hasn't run since it was new or whatever, but it's an air-cooled 50cc motorcycle engine squeezed into a scooter frame. But I don't care. It looks fucking cool.
It's yours.
What's that?
Chain drive means it could have any motor you want in there.
Exactly. Chain drive guarantees like supply chain wasn't an issue.
I see a Lifeline in your future.
A Leaf-On?
Leaf-On,
No, what I'm going to do, because I do want to respect it, and there is some certain things about this thing that are really, I want to offer it kind of to the Zundap collector community, to people that are trying to build these and preserve them, because this thing is in such amazingly good shape for being a bike from the 60s,
I like that even in the 60s, they had enough sense to have that little helmet holder thing on.
It's called the parcel hook.
Parcel hook.
The parcel hook. Exactly.
Yeah, if I didn't have helmets at that point.
So it's called the parcel hook. And again, this was an idea of like, hey, look, I saw a picture of a Lambretta once and we're a motorcycle company. Let's get in on some of this fucking scooter money. So what do we got? I got a 200cc. Okay, we'll build a 200cc. Great. I got a 50cc. Great. We'll build a 50cc. Just put the motorcycle in the middle and put sheet metal around it. It will be fine. And it didn't work out so well. But so that's what that is. So that is a Zundap R50, or it's also known as an S50. So either way, but that's what it is. It's a 50cc,
3-speed,
2-stroker scooter. And as Chris will tell you, it's heavy. It is not the weight of a normal 50cc scooter. It is the weight of a normal 250cc scooter.
Well, for Germans, though, it looks like they really spent some time engineering the kickstand.
The kickstand is completely... They got done with the whole bike and went, hey, we need a kickstand. And somebody went, okay, we'll just tack one on right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kickstand is awful. Yeah, it's literally just garbage. It's like... It is the parts bin special. So, but anyway, that's what it is. It's a Zundap scooter. So the Germans.
What an interesting name, though, Zundap. It sounds like it came from India.
Zundap. Oh, you think Zundap's? Yeah. So Zundap did a ton of motorcycles. So Zundap did all the military bikes. So Zundap is.
Is there like a Bella?
Yes. So the main bike that most people would know about would be the Zundap Bella.
Right?
So the Zundap Bella would be the most popular bike that was sold here. And it had big size motorcycle tires and everything else. Like it's the Bella is a bike that you could legit go 60 miles an hour on, right?
Those were 12-inch, right?
Yeah, they had big wheels. Yeah. They were relatively big wheels. And you know what I think is kind of funny about that is, they started building those in 53. So 53 was that era when a lot of the companies were like, yeah, we're gonna get on this Vespa thing, we're gonna get on this Lambretta thing, and companies like Heinkel, German manufacturing, they built fucking bombers. They built the first jet ever to fight in a war.
And by 45, they were out of business.
Exactly. Yeah. By 45, the Marshall Plan had taken over, and they went, so you'll be building this for us now. Right. We're going to let you build things, but you can only build things that can't kill other people. And that's literally what they did. I mean, there's no question about it. That's all of these companies, all these German companies that used to build
material.
Yeah, right. And that's true. Go-Go and all these companies that built artillery and built weapons after the war as some sort of like ultimate fuck you punishment. That's cool. Y'all you got that factory and everything, but I think we're going to make you build scooters. Yeah. And I think that's what happened. And I honestly think that there was a little bit of blast back on that because you notice there weren't a shit ton of American companies building scooters. It was pretty much like Cushman.
Now, Phil.
Yeah. Yeah.
What really happened was that Germany being devastated by the war.
Yeah.
Needed vehicles, that's what bore them.
They had to get work. They had to get to work in the morning. Yeah, they had to.
So they couldn't afford to build cars, but you could afford to knock out a bunch of scooters, and that's how scooters.
And you didn't have to change the tooling a whole hell of a lot to do it to get there. So it was a pretty short distance between wheels for your artillery piece and wheels for your scooter. or in this case, the Vespa, wheels for your airplane and wheels for your scooter. So they didn't have to go out and get different wheels, so that kind of thing.
I was thinking about this, and if you think about those cities or in India now or something, when you see at a stoplight, there's 200 two-stroke scooters.
Yeah.
That had to be so hard to breathe in that. Can you imagine being in the middle of 200 two-strokes?
And I mean, directly after the war, there were blocks and blocks and blocks of all the major cities where you probably couldn't drive a car down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There was just a little trail where you could probably get your scooter through.
Yeah. There's no doubt that the reason it was small vehicles was they were affordable. There weren't a lot of moving parts. Fucking simple. And we didn't leave any rail lines left behind. I assure you that. We spent more ordnance in goddamn Italy than we spent anywhere else. It was open season for us on Italy.
Germany should be back thrilled. To the third world is not.
You're not kidding. Yeah, they were. Bella Zundap started in 1917, so it was post World War I. So that's a really, really old company. They're a Nuremberg company, so that was a major industrial center of Germany at the time, and they were a producer of detonators.
I love the color. It's office furniture perfect. It's
It's in that color palette that I like to call Teutonic. Yeah. Anything you paint anything
filing
that color,
cabinet.
it is filing cabinet gray. Yep. It is United States military surplus
is it gray?
filing
is
cabinet
it tan?
gray.
I can't even tell.
It looks like it was plucked out of a black and white picture.
Yes, it does.
It's monochrome.
What color was it? Dirt. Yeah. And that is true. So the what bike this company is probably most known for, if you are any member of the I like America and I like history and I believe in checking out our history and knowing about things because if you don't know the past you're doomed to repeat it, that kind of thing. Or if you've ever seen Saving Private Ryan, this is what you recognize. This is absolutely the Zundap that most people are familiar with. And that is the bike that every fucking Nazi, you're like, oh, I watched this movie about Germans in World War II and they were riding a BMW. No, they weren't. BMW was busy building airplanes. Zundap was busy building motorcycles. And when you see a motorcycle in a German war movie or an American war movie, it's almost always going to be a 750cc boxer motor, or a boxer twin Zundap, not actually a BMW. So that's a little tip from your Unkie Phil. Yeah. And again, if you have one of these, you are sitting on a pile of fucking money. Good for you. Yeah. Because everybody wants to have it in their motion picture. So super cool, super fun. Yeah. Super, super neat. So that's about that. And to his left is...
me, Steve Sleepy.
And tonight we had a very special event before the podcast. We went and shot our 1 year anniversary of
Moto Stories.
Yeah.
77 videos.
I love the fucking 77th anniversary thing you put together. It was just all the title cards with our Ride Fast and Take Chances song. Cool. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. So for a lot of people that don't know, there's a punk rock song that we just lightly borrowed for our entire world. Yeah. Right. If you're out there. I think
it was written for us. I mean,
I'm pretty sure it was written for us. Yeah, because I 2 solid thumbs up on that song. But it was great to hear the song, but then to see the 77 title cards for all the videos. So all the Moto Stories. It was so fucking cool. I love that.
I can't believe it's been a year.
It has been a year. It did seem to scoot by. Well, and during COVID, this has given us something to look forward to.
Yeah, it really has.
It really, I mean, look, I know there's a lot of people out there like, I'm going COVID crazy. I can't stimulate myself enough. We've stayed busy.
Yeah.
The Moto Stories and the podcast has kept us.
My wife will tell you that I've been too busy.
Right. Yeah. Well, some people, for me, I know for you, COVID meant more.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had to turn it up. There was no like, oh, we're closed for 8 months. Nope. Fuck that. We've just been going at it hard and fast. Super cool. Yeah. Super, super cool. And then to his left,
Oscar
has been to the shop more times this week
than in the last 5 years.
Than the last 5 years, right? Exactly. Tell the folks what you're working on.
Oh, this little puppy over here.
I don't know if it shows up in the frame.
It does a little bit, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I can go move it.
No, you don't need to move it. It's fine. Yeah. So what it is it's a Road Burners video game.
Right.
I'll tell you the front part. Yeah. So the front part is years ago I bought a lightly broken Road Burners video game. And this is a motorcycle game you sit on. It's super fun. It's super cool. And I purchased it from a purveyor of, broken video games and pinball machines and whatever else. And my point is, I just wanted to have a ride-on video game, a ride-on, this just to be fucking cool. And it's one of the ones that I remember from when I was a kid riding, playing in the arcade. And it's always, but my favorite thing about the Road Burners and why the Road Burners was important to me was the Road Burners was the very first one where you could choose to ride a scooter. So a lot of them have a Harley and a crotch rocket and, some different bikes you can ride. But 1999 Atari Road Burners was the first one that actually had a scooter. You could choose to ride a scooter. Go figure. And the Road Burners game, and so I pulled it up so our podcast listeners can see it. The Road Burners game is you're sitting on a motorcycle and the screen is in front of you and you can pick which road you want to be on. You can pick Paris, France, and none of these are real racetracks. Oh, no. They're all just made up. And you can ride the Vespa, you can ride a crotch rocket, you can ride a two-stroke. It's got about 6 or 7 bikes that you can choose. The one I bought, the screen, the CRT screen was kind of burned in and the soundboard was fucked. So there was no music with it. So I played it a few times and it's kind of like, it's all right. It wasn't great. So this thing's been sitting here looking at us for how many years, right? So we really kind of got sick of looking at it. And then the idea is hatched. I was like, well, why don't we?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
The idea actually started, I think, with Cinch.
Yeah.
Because he posted the video of the PS4.
Oh, yes, he did.
Ride 4.
Yes,
with the
he
ride
did.
thing.
That's right.
And when we saw that, it was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. It is his fault.
Well, no, and we all talked, and then that was the day that we decided that if we could make it, what we were going to do and what we should do eventually is that we're going to get the Ride 5, because this is still 4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
this is 4.
5?
No, PS4.
Okay, PS4.
The game is Ride 4.
Yeah.
Okay, Ride
It's
4.
the same for both of them. Yeah.
Okay, but they have the Isle of Man on there,
Track.
right?
Yeah, there's a track. Yep.
Yep.
So our thing is that during the podcast, we're all going to start racing it and then try to beat
Checking
each
our
other for
times.
each podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this, like most, and I'll be honest with you, like most Cleveland Moto projects, this was an idea that had the best
Bourbon.
energy.
Yeah.
Thanks to bourbon, right? We poured a lot of expensive liquor at this problem, right? We poured a lot of expensive liquor at this fucking thing. But what was really funny, what I thought was hilarious about it is we were like, oh, that'd be really great. We should do that. That'd be fun. We should do that. Everything else. But then Oscar was kind of sitting there just kind of going,
Well, no, it got more devious
we could
than that.
actually do that.
It got more devious than that.
Yeah.
Because after everybody had left,
Calculations were
me and
being
you
made.
were talking. I think John was still here.
His slide rule came out.
No, do you remember though? It was me,
pushed
you,
his
and
glasses
Phil.
up.
He pushed his glasses up.
We decided that this was the perfect project for Oscar and Chris.
Yes,
we
we
were
did.
Like, we have these two
We
guys.
kind of gave the project to them without even telling them about
Yeah,
it.
because I wasn't here for that podcast. And I heard it from the next one. I was like, oh, by the way, we have something for you. I was like,
Yeah. So, Oscar, bring the folks who listen to the podcast or watch the podcast, bring them up to speed on what has happened to this. I'm going to tell you right now, I just looked on eBay. I could buy that machine, working condition. I just pulled it up for $2,000.
Jeez.
I didn't pay $2,000 for it.
Yeah.
I think I paid $500 for it several years ago. Right. I've played it at least 7 times. That's like $70 a play, right? So like $70 a play from an original play price of 50 cents. I got that down to $70.
And I think
So,
after this is over, I'll shoot B-roll. You guys doing it, and so during this part, this section,
you're
right
gonna drop
here,
it in?
We'll just drop it in so you can see what we're talking about.
You're a madman.
B-roll.
B-roll. Yeah. All right. So that's super cool. So I brought the machine and so now Oscar. As soon as we keyed Oscar was like, oh yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anybody like
so motivated.
step out of my fucking way. Get out of my fucking way.
He was on that like a seagull on a French
He
fry.
was. It was exactly it. So tell the folks what we've done.
Tell the folks at home.
Yeah. Tell
So I
them what
first
we
got
So
the,
bore us with the details.
right.
Oh,
exactly.
Thanks, John.
Right. Yeah.
So first I got the PS4 control just to see how far I can take it, how much I can hack the shit out of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You
Because
did.
obviously there's no schematics. There's no documentation.
Right. And the machine from the factory has what? It's got throttle.
yes.
It's got brake.
Brake.
It's got leany left
Yep.
and leany right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's just leany.
the lean, both
and then
ways,
handlebar,
and
like a
steering.
handlebar steering. And then it's got a button to start it, and then a button to change the view.
The music.
The music. Thank you. Because that was more important.
That was it. Yeah.
Right. So the music was real important
Right.
back then. So a standard PlayStation controller has about 96 buttons on it.
Yeah. And joysticks and
Right.
Well, if you've watched Squid Games, you know it at least has 4 buttons, right?
Look, man. So Oscar has to basically go in there.
Yep.
And these controls were all designed for a 1990s analog operating system.
Oh, it's bare bone basic.
It is
They're
so right.
basic.
Wasn't there like a piece of string involved with one of them or something like that?
I think it's
Oh,
funny
yes,
that
yeah.
some of these controls were like not milliohms. They were like 1,000 ohms. Like stuff that should only be used for like a rheostat on a ceiling fan. Not for a video game.
No.
And you had to make it work with this, this dainty little angel hair of wiring
Oh
that
yeah,
they put
it's
in this
crazy.
shit.
All the shit. Good thing that I know some people that have high end soldering equipment and a lot of wire and
Lots
spools
of
and
wire.
shit. Yeah,
Lots
yeah.
of-
I know
yeah.
some people.
Lots of
Wink,
fucking
wink,
wire.
nudge,
Yeah.
nudge.
You know what else is funny? He imported a 12-year-old girl from China to do all the fine soldering. Allegedly. She's in the machine right now.
Oh, it's like Snowpiercer.
It is Snowpiercer.
Oh, shit.
It's exactly like
Yeah, yeah.
Snowpiercer. Yeah, that's it. You press the button and it makes a little electrical impulse on her ear.
There's,
and she just-
there's a kid in there
There's
with
a
the
kid there with the
controller.
controller.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it's time for Daddy to crash now. Yep. So
So yeah, I checked out first the controller just to see if it was able to do. So I was able to pretty much get like 30 wires out of the controller.
yeah.
The controller still works. That's the fun part. You can still use the controller.
Because he Siamesed all of
Yes.
them.
You
So
tapped-
rather
you
than
tapped into 'em.
yeah,
Yeah, I
so
tapped
rather
into
than
all the-
deactivating any of them, he literally built another controller.
Yeah, so soldering,
Yeah.
scraping traces and soldering shit and
Yeah.
a 30 gauge wire into like a
Whisker.
dot. Yes. Yeah. Was not fun. Well, actually, it was pretty fun. Actually.
I was gonna say
It was kind
for
of
the
fun.
rest of
I
us.
love that
That
thing.
is my definition of a fucking night of hell. And
No,
you came
it
in
was-
every day with a new like.
More wires sticking out of it.
I only had 26 wires in there before, but now I've got 34 wires in
Yeah.
there. And I'm like, that's a 24 wire connector. How do you have 34 wires in there?
yeah.
Well, it was weird.
It's starting to
see if it
it's starting
does.
to build itself.
If you're a certain kind of guy, though, that's what you want. Every time my wife goes out of town, like, she'll go to visit her parents for a week or something. That's the week I'll build like 9 drones.
Oh my!
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like shit's on the
That's-
kitchen tables.
it's
There's
everywhere.
The soldering iron doesn't even get unplugged the whole fucking week. It's like, like,
Burning like
Yeah.
flux and everything. Yeah.
Hot melt glue gun.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on over here. Yeah, and I've managed to break it several times. So every time he works hard and gets everything together, I go and play it, and I'm like, fuck, it quit working. Well, it's because I am not surgical. I am a blunt instrument on my best day. And
It's still a prototype.
It's still a prototype. And so, but so many things happened. Like we were trying to figure out,
this
Oscar wanted to preserve it somehow. Like
I
Oscar,
tried.
Oscar was like trying to be true to the machine. And he was like, well, it's okay. We can just use the monitor that's
But
there.
there was a point where there's no going back.
Well,
Yeah,
and the point
it's
is me.
still close enough because actually I'm still using the original harness.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm tapping into like all the connectors because I also have a lot of equipment somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm tapping on all that stuff. But yeah, at some point you have to cut a couple wires because they were sharing a lot of grounds.
Oscar's
which
like,
the
we're going to
control
use this
doesn't like,
monitor.
so-
And I was like, the fuck we're going to use this monitor? Are you kidding me?
I did look into like using the old CRT and he was like, fuck no, we're not doing that.
No.
4K bitch.
Look,
okay.
if there's going to be a PS5 anywhere on my planet, anything that I touch, it's not going to be dumbed down to a fucking CRT 4:3 aspect ratio bullshit.
True.
It's going to be fucking 4K. Here's a tip from your Unkie Phil. It's really fucking hard to find a 32-inch 4K monitor because they generally say if you're saying 4K, you're saying big dick. Like 4K equals 55 inches or better. Yep. It was really hard to find a 4K monitor, and we wanted to fill the box up.
Yeah, with the bezel being
So
thin enough.
it only
that-
worked
yeah.
out mathematically. If we would have used a 32-inch monitor, it would not have fit. So we had to use a 32-inch curved monitor. So some of those inches were going the wrong way.
Which even works.
It's
Which
got
works
Peroni-
better.
perfectly.
Yeah.
It's a monitor with Peroni's disease.
It is literally a monitor with scoliosis. It's 32 inches, but not all in the same direction. And the idea, so it just so happens though that it fits with a blonde one on each side.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Is that made by Pringles?
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's made by the Germans. But
Where'd you find it?
I ordered it from Philips. So we had looked at some LED. I looked at, like, by going 4K, our options were literally LG, Samsung, and Philips. And we measured the cases on all of them. And the only one that would fit in that enclosure was the Philips, because the Philips
And it's tight.
It's perfect.
toy like a toiga. Yeah.
And
I love it.
Over at Phillips, Earl said, "Hey, we sold another one."
That was not
Second
that
one
was
this
not
year.
Earl who said that. That was Klaus and Heinz. They said, yes, somebody who finally appreciates quality. It's not a fucking television, though. It's a monitor. So it has nothing. And for the price we paid more money for that fucking monitor than we would have paid for a 55-inch smart set, right? We could have just bought a 55-inch and glued it to the outside of the case and given everybody, like, walleye vision when they tried to play it, or cancer when they looked into it directly. But instead, we wanted it to fit. So we had to spend too much money and get no features.
But you also got probably a very high refresh rate because it's a monitor, so it's going to make the game.
Oh,
look
no.
really better.
That was part of it. We were like, literally, it is that kind of thing. Is like, giving me $1,000 pair of sneakers is spending money on the wrong shit, right? So the idea was, if we're going to be using this on a PS4 or maybe a PS5 someday in 20 years when they become available, then we don't want it to be on a dog shit monitor, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. Was it a 60 frame per second or 120?
60?
60
No,
frame?
yeah. So it's 60 at 4K. Yeah. I think it can do 120, but anyway. But so the idea was that the monitor had to fit, and it's measure twice, cut once. And boy, there was some fucking cutting.
Yep.
Like, if you ever want to have a good day, Oscar's cringing. I'm grinding and cutting on metal, and Swarf is going everywhere. And Oscar's just like, no. There's still a circuit board in there. Holy shit.
We barely got out the CRT, and he just takes the monitor out of the box. We put the base on it.
Yeah.
Stuffs it in there, and there's like at least like 3 inches of the base sticking out. And I was like, we can maybe wedge it and move it around. He just takes out of the fucking Dremel tool. Like,
just go.
fuck this shit. I'm going to cut it out. Just like,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm a very blunt instrument. There's
And
no
you
doubt.
did a hell of a job on it, though.
Oh, well, the idea is I got a very calibrated eye. So, and then we took an old 5.1 stereo system I had at the house, also a Philips. Stick with the Germans, right? Exactly. Again,
sounds great.
It sounds great now. So it has better audio than it deserves. And and we got Nick in on the project, who's now going to bring an Arduino in. Now let's talk to the folks about that, because that's fucking crazy.
So the original, we had to upgrade all the potentiometers on the tilty and the steering.
Because they were from the last century.
Yeah, they had 8 points of probably of articulation.
But this game, since it has both the steering wheel and also the
leany
tilty,
business,
now we have to get an Arduino in between so we can center both of them and do the adjustments
It's
of
so fucking cool.
percentages between them and all
so
that shit. So
he's
it's on its way.
He's saying the reasons it can't work, and I'm saying the reasons why it probably can't work, and I'm probably wrong, but I've got spirit, and I'm like, fuck, dude, we just need an Arduino. Because my answer is to throw an Arduino in everything. Like, I'm like, okay, you need to control something. Fuck it. Let's get a Raspberry Pi in here. Let's spend $35 and let's write some bullshit code or steal some bullshit code off the internet. And we'll resurrect a 1926 remote control that goes click, click, right?
And that's when I said, yeah, that's a Nick job. I'll do all the hardware. I'll do all the wiring. I've done a shit ton of harnesses to add on
and Nick
stuff.
DeVito might be in Chapel Hill.
Oh, yeah.
But he still has an email address.
Well, that's the best part. That's the best part is he gets to do all this work and then never play the game.
Oh yeah. So we got Nick in on the game so that we can have variable geometry and inputs for both the handlebars, and because if you've ever ridden a motorcycle, the first time I tried to ride this thing when it was handlebars only,
oh, it's nasty.
Oscar has watched me fail harder on that fucking machine at the level of like a 2-year-old with a head injury, like a baby that's been dropped and feeding alcohol. It's just so bad. And I'm trying to slam the bike over, instinctively because I see the wall coming at me and the bike's not responding. And I'm like, it's so maddening. So then we switched it. So the bike
You couldn't lean.
No. So the bike now leans for the steering, but the handlebars do nothing.
Right.
Which the original Isle of Man game, the handlebars were static, bolted to the machine,
to the frame, yeah.
and you sat on the bike, and the bike worked like a swing set. So the bike swung left and right. That's how you steered it. So the handlebars.
But see, but with the
worked in
Arduino,
reverse.
with this code, he should be able to make it so you can counter steer. It's like you can.
Oh
push.
yeah, we can adjust and make changes on percentages between the tilty and the
Yeah,
so that's going to be the fun part.
I'm very excited
So
about that.
and then you know what we should do? Here's
Yeah.
another. That happened to pop in.
Yeah.
All of us. So
I'm just fucking
Anybody
with
who's able.
no,
mouse in
this
your
anybody
pocket.
can do
Fucking
this.
with-
What I was about to say is, we need to get a board like Top Gear had, and then any guests
yeah.
have
Just
to do
slap
it,
your
and then
number
we'll
in
put
there.
their,
There's a
their name in
perfectly vertical piece of real estate right next to that
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
so
going to
we
have
gotta do the-
we'll have the Cleveland Moto.
And we just need some of the really good names so we could have like the Kosnaga Snigga Snigga. whatever.
Koenig Zigga 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 Zigga
across the
Zigga.
top.
Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah.
So it goes from $70 a ride up to
Well, yeah.
$166.
Eventually, we're
a
going to
ride.
amortize this because like we had some money that we forgot about because it kind of hanging around here for a few years, and then we're now pumping some money back into it. Oscar's going to have 37,000 hours into it by the time he gets done, and 26 burned fingers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, he's like, I have no fingerprints anymore.
So right now we have a 4K
Yeah.
monitor,
Yep.
a PS4 Pro.
Right.
We have a surround sound on it,
Yeah.
and
The unit itself.
the bike itself has the rumble pack of the controller
Right.
that buzzes your butt when you hit the grapple and all the shit on the side.
So it vibrates
has
under your
feedback
butt,
on your
yeah.
ass if
It's got
if you go off
haptic
the-
feedback.
Yes.
It's the
Don't
heartbeat
forget
of
about
America.
the plug-in one that you can do. So if you insert something,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we'll
it.
have the butt plug
Yeah.
accessory for everybody who wants
Yeah.
it to
Yeah.
get some extra.
Well, that's if you
feedback.
get the Harley version of the game.
The Harley seat. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, that's for the live wire riders.
but that only works when you attach the get backs on both.
Yes,
of them.
exactly. And
It
so-
comes with a saddlebags. Yeah.
And again, because we live in a weird universe, at some point I'm riding the bike today. I'm on this thing and I'm playing it. And my mechanic, Luke, shows up. He materialized a shifter assembly off of a CBR 900 that he had switches already put into.
Yeah, I was talking with him yesterday, and he got all excited. He got a chance to ride it, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, we can totally use a shifter." It was like, "I have the wires already in there because I
Yeah.
that's me."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, we can make that work mechanically back in the thingy." He was like, "Okay,"
So
just
it-
ran across.
It literally
yeah.
just got phantom, fabric hobbled, and it literally showed up. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got a shifter." And I was like, "Jesus Christ, this is a hollow plastic motorcycle. Right? This is a hollow plastic motorcycle that we are literally going to bolt
Billet,
a motorcycle
billet
to."
rear sets
Yes,
to.
exactly. Billet rear sets to a hollow plastic motorcycle.
So that's
Right.
the next upgrade.
Oh, but that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So you could downshift into turns and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
oh man.
the game is hard enough as it is, but definitely we're gonna have to make it.
We're currently playing the game riding a Yamaha R3, the dumbest bike they have,
Yeah.
in super easy mode. And I can't get to the first qualifying marker.
yeah. No, we haven't.
I can't. I have successfully crashed on every possible turn.
Well, it's weird because like the faster you go, the easier it is to ride.
Yes.
The slow is what kills you.
Of course
you
it
can't
does.
Get moving.
Right. So this is a big part of the learning curve of the machine and everything else. But we're going to get there, goddammit. I swear to God. And the good thing is we don't have to pump quarters into this bitch. Because
Oh my god, that would be horrible.
oh, we'd already be $10,000 in.
I can add the feature because I have the wiring for the
I know,
for
we
the
can-
conch slot and shit. So.
And by keeping all the original video game shit in it,
It's
the whole
still there.
arcade game shit, it's all still there. We could set that up. We could
I
cost
can
people.
put the start button into the coin slot.
Oh, it could
I
cost-
can
Yeah, but
But
easily
if you do
that.
that, just
I
don't
can do
tell
that
anybody
easily.
though, so we know that you don't have to put
Right,
the coin in.
right, yeah.
Everybody else,
Everybody else knows you gotta put the coins in.
and then put
Clink,
four
clink,
four
clink.
quarters, one play.
I remember back in the day, like the arcade games, we knew the trick on some of them.
Yeah.
You turn them off and turn them back on, and it came up with two credits.
Two free
So
credits.
we're always like,
Really?
ooh, when nobody's looking at it.
Yep.
Turn it off and turn it on to do.
If you guys remember our old shop when we were in Lakewood, I had my Doctor Who machine in there. So I had my Doctor Who pinball machine in the shop, and we had it set up for free play. You had to flip the switch on the bottom, right? But it was hilarious how many people would come in and dump quarters into it, which is cool, man. That's great.
Yeah.
And so you earn a couple of bucks here and there. But it just killed me. It killed me. It broke my fucking heart to have my pride and joy Doctor Who pinball machine and letting savages play it.
Yeah.
Because it is one, when you own a pinball machine, Pinball machines are designed to be thrown down the stairs sideways. They are the most overbuilt thing on the planet.
All mechanical.
It's heavy duty. The switches are all heavy duty. They are built to have drunks in bars beat on them for hours a night and survive. Right. And when you own a pinball machine, you're like the thing's made out of fucking angel hair. You just are so delicate. You're so careful with it. It's like the dumbest thing because I spent money to have my pinball machine shopped out and got to be perfect again. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be a special night. We get the lighting just right, turn on the Doctor Who pinball machine, and just lose myself for like 6 hours. And still realize you're like, wow, I really suck at pinball. I'm just terrible at pinball. Yep. But it's my pinball, goddammit. So again, having this in here is going to be hilarious too. I mean, for us, it's going to be great.
You know what? At least pinball in this kind of a game is something you can actually play.
Yeah.
Like my older daughter and her friends would be like, they play Call of Duty or something, right? They're like, hey, you want to play?
Yeah.
And it's like 72,000 different button
advanced
combinations
button mashing.
and all this shit. I was
Right.
like, I can't do this stuff, man. What?
I play Call of Duty.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
You can't
Honestly,
even remember to talk into the microphone.
I get killed a lot. I get killed a lot.
Do you have the Call of Duty on the Atari 2600? Just a big joystick and one button on it?
No, we have the Atari 26.
The R26, yeah, right.
Not 100.
Not the 2600. It's
No,
the
the 26.
2-bit. Yeah, it's literally 2-bit.
Did you see
It's
the
Pong? It's
12K.
Pong Call of Duty.
I did see something though, because my daughter was playing it, so I started looking into trying to figure out how to play the game.
Yeah.
And I found this cheat thing that was so awesome.
On Call of Duty?
Yeah, all you do is you take those the teeth cleaners, the little plastic things with
sticks or whatever they are. Yeah.
And they tape it right where in the center of the screen where your shoots.
Where your gun sight is.
So as you move like that, anything that moves into that spot,
that's your kill zone.
That's your kill zone. So you put it on your screen.
Right.
Nobody else knows you have it on your thing.
All right. So you just have a front sight.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought it was going to be like, okay. I mean,
No, it wasn't that cool.
up, down, left, right.
Yeah.
Infinite lives.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Copy code.
Yeah. Come on, man.
This is practical magic.
It is practical magic. I'm going to tape a piece of plastic to my monitor. That's not.
It's one of those 5-minute life hacks that suck ass on YouTube.
I'm going to stop playing the game and just look at this little dot, and whenever it changes colors, I'm going to push the button.
I'm going to push the button. I'm playing this game one pixel at a time. That's it. You don't play the game, man. You play the pixel. Yeah. Oh, man.
And by the way, it is disturbing watching the Tanuki with a huge ass nutsack in front of me looking at me.
Well, and speaking of that, to your left, so to your left is
Chris Franklin.
And Chris, did you ride tonight?
I did not for the
Thank
first time.
fucking God, because it's going to be shit. So Chris, Franklin, right in front of you is your Tanuki. That's your personal Tanuki.
Well, thank you.
So you have a Tanuki, thanks to one of our podcast listeners who decided that the Tanuki was our fucking spirit animal, and we can't argue with that. Can't argue with science at this point. Or lore, or canon. Yep. So I think that there's your Tanuki. That is your Tanuki Tiki mug. Which, by the way, Tanuki Tiki mug is fucking fun alliteration. Oh, yeah. So I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, Chris was nice enough to give us one of the topics we're going to have tonight. So it's fucking, he brought me a topic and I was like, God damn, that's actually a fucking good topic. So yay. And then to his left,
Johnny Mac.
Johnny Mac is also a victim of tonight's Moto Stories with Unkie Phil reflash. We're doing blast from the past kind of thing. So we got Chris in there, we got Johnny Mac in there, we got Steve in front of the camera for the first fucking time. It's pretty goddamn cool.
It
was so spontaneous.
Yeah.
It was good. John totally was like, "Hey, Steve, why don't you get in here?" And then he handed you that microphone like it was on fire.
I know.
Yeah.
Let me
like
just get
it
out of
burnt
here.
his fucking fingers. I got cigarettes to smoke and beer to drink. I'm fine. Ain't that the truth? What do you got? Anything cool happening in your world there, John?
Nothing. I did this shoot and scoot last weekend over at Bruce's house.
How's Bruce doing?
So, he's doing really good. He's looking good, doing good.
Yep.
Did some improvements to his house and stuff.
Nice.
Low turnout on the shoot and scoot. I didn't even shoot. I just scooted.
Yeah.
My
You
brother
just
came
scooted?
out.
Yeah.
My brother came up though. He had his quad. We had fun acting like kids. He was trying to run me over.
Yep.
I was trying to run away on the SSR. I spent plenty of time on the SSR.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool, man.
We were playing,
That's fantastic.
Hare and Hound in
Hare
the
and
back.
Hound. That's
I got to meet where John gets all his good looks from and everything
from David.
else like that. Yeah.
From David. Yeah.
Bruce had pulled out. He bought that one Z50 at Mid-Ohio.
He did,
a few
at
years
Mid-Ohio,
ago.
yeah.
I never quite ran right. And I'm like, put it up on the tailgate, take the carb off, make this happen.
Yeah.
So we got that running perfect.
Yeah.
There's some pictures. I rode that all around. I love that little thing.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
badass.
I did that. Played around. Cinch and I went out to the compound.
Yep. Fixed up some bikes.
Spent a little bit of time. Gave some love to the SSRs, which are sitting out there.
Well, it's cold in that container.
Yeah.
Turned the petcocks off on everybody's bike.
What?
Yep.
Ran some.
I don't even want to talk about it.
We
I
figured
don't.
out how easy it is to drain the
I call bullshit on that. They were all closed.
They weren't all closed. I guarantee they weren't all
The
closed.
orange one with the broken levers was definitely not closed.
Yeah, I tell you, man.
Someone
And
someone
my
did
green
something
one
to my
was
bike.
none of it. But here's the thing, guys. So, like, if you throw your motorcycle in the barn and you're like, well, it doesn't leak, it's cool, because
Great.
these are shipping containers. There's no water.
Wait.
Yeah.
All the chains were rusted.
Wait, the last time that bike was running, someone was riding it and fucked it over and broke the handle, the clutch lever. So,
I will not deny this.
so
I asked him if he was going to spend some time and work on your bike for you.
Yeah.
he said right away, right?
Yeah, of course, but I
And
couldn't find the levers.
all I heard was blap.
Yeah,
There might have been some riding going on, but I couldn't find the levers.
there
Where's
was
the
just
levers?
a little hint of fuck Oscar. I don't know what you're talking about. Fuck Oscar. Yep. Who's else by
Trying to talk to him, all I heard was wow. I'm like,
noticed-
what? Sidge.
At Mid-Ohio at Drunk 30, you will notice that I took my bike and I chained it over to the
you did.
fence.
Yeah, you did.
Because I was like, look, man, it's Drunk 30. I'm chaining the fucking Sherco because it's a two-stroke, big
Right.
fucking 250 two-stroke, and I'm chaining my bike because fuck it, I know the way these guys get.
Well, it wasn't that. Do you know what happened?
I'm dying to know.
The girls that graced the cover of that magazine fucking
Unicorn
ran me
Girls.
over.
Girls, yeah.
Yeah, it does. So the Unicorn Girls are responsible for his clutch lever getting broken.
100%.
You know
We should
what?
build them.
You're always blaming fucking children, dude.
Yeah, that's the kind of a thing with you, dude.
And Krumke's
you
bike.
gotta
Not
kids.
again.
Krumke's bike also got
And I don't think Kromke crashed that shit.
No, he didn't do either.
I didn't crash Kromke's.
bullshit.
I didn't.
Well, you did mine. I know that because I actually filmed it. I have a video of you fucking over my bike and
never-
eating shit in the barrel rolls.
You want to see?
You
You want to see? You want to see a sexy guy right there?
Dang.
Look at that, huh? Look at that. Woo! That's me when I was like 19. Yeah, yeah. That's when my tank was still green. That's when we were preparing to fight the communists.
What's that big bulge there?
That's a 120 millimeter smooth bore. That's called the bore evacuator. Yeah, that's where the bad gases go.
And that's
Yeah.
how I got all the
Look
ladies.
at that guy, huh? Look
Have
at
you
that.
seen my 120
Oh,
millimeter
yeah.
smoothbore?
shit.
You see how dry that tank is? That fucking heater works. Yeah. Yeah. That's how you know that. That's how you know that's a grade A fucking heater repairman right there on top of that tank. Yep. Yeah. And at that point, I was not yet. I mean, I was not yet a gunner when that picture was taken. I was still a lowly driver. So yeah, I was whole maintenance and whatever. But yeah, that was it. Yeah. The stylish attire of Grafenveer meant your rubber rain jacket. Because it was fucking snowing and raining sideways every single day, and then all your other shit underneath it. Because that place, as much as it's like beautiful scenic Bavaria, it is also very fucking cold. Yeah. So there you go. That's a picture of.
Well, don't they ski there?
19. Oh fuck yeah, they do.
Just what I'm saying.
They ski the shit out of that place. And I did too. Thanks to United States Army and Air Force's recreation centers. You can rent anything from the military.
really?
And it's all brand new. They buy new shit every year. And you're like, I think I want to use a kayak this weekend. Go rent one. It's amazing. And it's like $1. Yeah. Don't buy a Cannondale bicycle. Go rent one anytime you need one. The military spends ridiculous amounts of money on a hammer. Why wouldn't they spend money on recreation?
So this is how this shit shows up on Gov Deals.
Oh, go yeah. If you're like, why the hell is there an inflatable bouncing castle on Gov Deals? Because you can rent one from the outdoor rec. Outdoor rec will rent you anything for like $1. Like the money changing hands is more of this like concession that you're just like, we rented it to you. We didn't just loan it to you. Yeah. But
It's more of a legality thing.
it really is. Like outdoor rec is a very strange thing. You hear the term outdoor rec and you're like, okay, whatever. But it's also where you go to buy guns and ammunition and rent things that you don't want to own. And it's like, we rented a couple of kayaks. We rented 6 sets of skis and also the rack to put them on top of my Audi 80. And it was like, the guy was like, well, of course you need a rack for that too. And I was like, what's it going to cost me? And he goes, you're getting skis. You should probably have a rack. I was like, this military thing's amazing. Once you realize that it's not the pay, it's the whole like, oh, well, you're here now. We have to do something with you so you don't accidentally burn the place down.
Right.
It's like we're all children. If they don't stimulate us enough, we're going to burn shit, which is absolutely fucking true. Yeah. So if we could, Oscar, yes, sir? Servettas were actually manufactured until 1989. Damn. Ooh, that's going to be something in the future for Oscar to know about. That'll come in handy later. So, thanks to Chris. Chris, what was the question that you asked us before the podcast?
Oh, so scooters with a CVT. Does oil matter? Motorcycle
Hell,
oil.
not just scooters with a CVT.
Anything.
Any fucking thing with a CVT. And that's a really good question.
Because once you put a CVT on something, isn't the motor basically a generator? I mean, there's no wet clutch. There's nothing to really worry about.
That's the important thing. And that's my favorite part of the conversation is it's not does your motorcycle, does your scooter, does whatever you have a CVT? We shouldn't ask that question. We should ask, does your vehicle have a wet clutch?
Right.
Because if you ride Moto Guzzi's, doesn't have a wet clutch, it's a dry clutch. If you ride Ducatis, certain Ducatis, doesn't have a wet clutch, has a dry clutch. Right? There are plenty of motorcycles, plus all these bikes that have DCTs, right? If you don't have a wet clutch, you don't need a bottle of oil with a picture of a motorcycle on it, which is the industry standard, by the way, for what kind of oil do I need for a motorcycle? Well, is there a picture of a motorcycle on the bottle? Then that's probably the right oil for you, right? And so I thought it was really funny. So I brought this kind of out as a graphic training aid. So here in the shop, we carry only the finest Motul, right? So we carry Motul, we carry Bel-Ray, we carry Maxima, we carry a lot of different oils. But it is very funny that, so in my right hand, I have a bottle of Motul's 100% synthetic 4T motorcycle oil, 7100, which this is what this is. And as we talked about on other podcasts, what you're looking for on the bottle is the letters JSO or something like that, but looking for that MA2. So MA2 means motorcycle applicable. Okay. So this bottle, which has a picture of a motorcycle on it. In fact, it has a picture of it looks like a Ulysses. Yeah, it looks like a Ulysses. So it's got a Ulysses on it, or that could be a Ducati Multistrada. Anyway, but it's definitely has a picture of a motorcycle on it. And it is definitely 4T, says right on there, and it's 100% synthetic. And this motorcycle oil is going to set you back, give or take $16 a liter, right? That's what it is. So that's what that is. Okay, great. So now here we have the same product, same company, same bottle, same liter, but this one has a picture of a green maxi scooter on it. It looks like it's a Kimco 500, probably Exciting 500 on the front. And it says 4T, 4-stroke motor oil. And it says scooter expert. Ooh, this is not for you entry-level fucking scooter riders here. This is for you goddamn experts, man. Experts. And the guy is wearing a helmet that matches his scooter, so he's obviously an expert. And it says SAE 10W40, and it doesn't say MA2. Right. It says MA. Oh, well, there's a fucking difference right there, isn't there? What's going on with that? So it turns out that this is JSO T-903 oil, and its performance is guaranteed by Motul, backwards compatible with previous API service categories. Oh my fucking God. Jesus Christ. It is stroking you off with both hands. This thing is trying its best to justify your money, but the important thing is that what it is MA on it, right? So that's the letters we're talking about. That's what we want to know about as motorcycle owners, is this is this scooter oil for a CVT transmission, not just a dry clutch, but no fucking clutch, is going to the trouble of being MA, right? So it's motorcycle applicable. But this is the crazy thing. This stuff is about $1 more than that stuff. Because now I know that's a very small thing. I could pull out some other bottles here that there would be a radical difference in price on, but I decided to stay within the brand.
Right.
So for $1 more, you get a green sticker that says the word expert on it. And for this one, you get a picture of Ducati or a Ulysses. We're not sure, right? They've artistically made sure you can't tell the difference.
So if you have something to compensate,
A quick thought.
grab the better one.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No. That was,
A quick thought is, wasn't there one scooter though that had a wet CVT or something like that? Ooh. Like the Yamaha VMAX or somebody had, I thought.
The Yamaha, that would be like a TRX.
I don't know.
Okay.
There might be one.
Okay. Yeah.
One.
I will do some, I don't think it's the Majesty though, because the Majesty runs a pretty much straight ahead. It could be the X-Max.
But since this is such a benign
A Bergman
topic.
A Bergman does not have a wet CVT.
Correct. Right. And so that's a very, very good, that's a pretty cool thing.
Since this is such an unheated, benign topic, I think if you have ideas or thoughts on motor oil, you should probably send them to Phil at ClevelandMoto.
That goes to Liza at the Motorcycles and Misfits podcast.
There you go. Yeah.
They'd be happy to talk to you about
They would be happy to tell you about that. So anyway, that's a very, very good thing. And you know what? I think that John might be right. I think that X-Max might in fact be a wet. I'm getting weird conflicting data on that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I could be wrong, but I thought there was one scooter somewhere where it was a wet CVT, like in a car.
Yeah.
And if you want more information about motor oil, go to any online
But again,
forum.
it can be a
and just
wet
ask your question.
guys. And I'm going to tell you, guys, it can be a wet CVT. That's not the problem. It doesn't matter if it's a wet CVT. It's not a wet clutch. Right. And the real reason about that is for clutches, when we have oils that have friction modifiers in them, they get in between the clutch plates and the oil, and you don't get a lock. They won't lock up. They'll slip for fucking ever. And this is the point. The point is, as Chris was saying, what kind of oil do you use in your bike? Rotella, right? So if you're using anything Rotella with the letter T in the front of it, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of right. If you want to know where we stand on the topic, and on the 8th day, God created a Rotella T6.
Right.
And I don't care what you fucking have, it will run on Rotella T6. Rotella T6 is the oils handed down by God for anything in the world that has a spark plug and goes bang. And honestly, if you got a glow plug and it goes bang, if you got a diesel, I don't care, if you got a Harrier fucking jump jet and you're not sure what to put in that bitch, trust Rotella T6. You'll never go wrong. And also, people are like, well, if you switch to Rotella T6, you can go out to, 6,000 miles per an oil change instead of 3,000 miles. Shut the fuck up. Giant 18-wheelers use that shit for 30,000 miles. You're okay on your fucking moped, pal. You'll be okay. Trust me. You'll be fine.
They do have a 15-gallon oil something.
Exactly. Right. We understand. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Details.
Yes. Details.
Schmeetails.
So put twice as much oil in your fucking moped. You'll be fine. But
fill it up till it comes out the dipstick hole.
Yes, exactly. So that, as far as I'm concerned, I think that the important thing to remember is that whole motorcycle specificity is all because of what? The fucking clutch. Yep. It ain't about having a picture of the motorcycle on the fucking jug. Now, I understand right now there is some fucking oil nerd out there who is shitting himself and crashing his fucking car, and it'll be a freaking Prius, of course. And he's going to be angry because he's like, well, but no, there's also things in there because motorcycle oil has to run at a higher RPM at a higher temperature, and it's a different blend, and fuck no. Look, man. I used to race motorcycles, and the thing about racing motorcycles at the club amateur track day level is everybody's cheap, and everybody's trying to figure out a way to get like another 20 fucking laps in without changing their tires or changing the oil again, and saving a couple of bucks so you can spend it buying new leathers and broken parts, right?
Well, and also, does Yamaha or Honda have a refinery?
No,
So-
they don't. No, it's
yeah.
kind of funny, right?
So they're buying oil from somebody else. So like
Right, exactly.
when it says to use Honda oil and Honda motors,
That's right.
it's
Exactly.
not- they didn't make it.
Only use HP4.
Right.
Well, then, like a Harley, like
Right.
your motor oil isn't going into your wet clutch. It's two separate.
Yeah.
Your primary is separate from, so you can run anything you want in your motor.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That's a very, very good point. And that's, I think, the takeaway. The takeaway from this is, don't get in your fucking head about this shit. If you got a CVT or you've got something that doesn't have a wet clutch, simply put, what kind of oil do I need? Does your motorcycle have a wet clutch? I don't fucking know. Then use the manual.
Then I don't fucking care.
Right. If you don't know. Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you don't know if you have a wet clutch or not, then I'm going to tell you, just buy what it tells you to buy in your manual. Because you have not graduated to that level. Your beard is still very short, right? Yeah. So if you got a really, really long beard and you ask me what kind of oil you should buy, I'm going to think you might be an imposter.
Or just Google what is the best oil for my motor.
Go to any forum.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That is the God's truth right there.
Take 2 weeks off of work. Tell your wife you're not going to see her anymore.
Nice. And that is, boy, ain't that the truth. So I am going to tell you that according to Yamaha, according to their owner's manual for the
Yamalube
Smax,
only.
for the Smax, the X-Max, it does say Yamalube. And of course it does, motherfuckers. But not only does it say Yamalube, but it specifically just, all it says is 10W40. It does not specify anything else because, of course, what do they want you to do? They want you to use the house brand, right? They're just making it a very clear thing that they just want you to use the house brand. And if you use the house brand, then your warranty will be good forever, but whatever. It's hilarious, but it is so true that people get so wrapped up in this shit. And it's yes. And if you ever talk to an old man with an AMSOIL hat on, you're going to fucking call your
Buy him a
next
beer or two.
Call your next of kin because you're going to be there a while.
All I will say is if you have an old bike,
Yep.
vintage Hondas and stuff,
Yep.
get something 30 weight, straight 30 weight, non-detergent.
Yep, absolutely.
The detergent, you want the most dinosaur oil you can find.
And
No friction modifiers, no nothing.
Nothing.
Just oil.
And you know what is a good phrase for people that should know, that if you like old motorcycles and stuff like that and you like old stuff, the term is straight 30. You know, if you're calling somebody up and you're like, I need to buy some oil for my motorcycle, I have an old motorcycle, then the term you want to get used to saying is, I need straight 30 or I need straight 40, because then you know that there's not a multi-viscosity to the oil. It is just 30 weight oil, which is actually what most motorcycles were designed to run on prior to, the invention of the fuel injection systems and
You
everything
go to
else.
Home Depot in the lawnmower section,
Yeah.
you look at
Oh,
the Brazen Stratton, it's
99
probably
cents has a picture of a wolf on it.
30, usually that's 30 weight non-detergent.
Yeah. When it comes to ammunition or oil, I do recommend looking for boxes that have wolves on them. So if you have ammunition or oil that has a picture of a wolf on it somewhere, you're probably doing okay. You're probably going to be all right. Yeah. A wolf is usually a sign of quality, or just cromulence. It's just perfectly cromulent. Yeah. It's what you need.
so why no detergents though?
Yeah. Well,
Because of the wet clutch.
Yeah. Yeah. And because the idea of adding these detergent esters to these oils that we're going to be putting in cars is all about compensating for bad maintenance habits.
Right.
And it's for keeping not evaporative emission systems, but emission systems intact. And kind of essentially, those are toluene. Those are things that you really don't need or want in your motorcycle oil. And there's other things that are lubrication modifiers. So the detergents are one thing, the lubrication modifiers are another.
Friction modifiers.
So, thank you, friction modifiers. The problem is a lot of the detergents do present themselves as friction modifiers. So what might be sold as being a detergent might also have the effect of adding some lubricity to the clutch plates and things like that. Pretty fucking interesting, but also just one of those things like, if you don't know what to fucking do, read your goddamn manual. And if you don't have a goddamn manual, Rotella T6. Done. You're finished. That's it. You could just buy one barrel of oil for your whole fucking house and be done with it.
To be fair, that's how my garage is.
Yes.
Like I didn't even think about it. And I'm reading through the manual anyways. First time I did the oil change, I'm like, This thing doesn't have a fucking more clutch. I don't care. And
Right,
I'm like, wait,
exactly.
I'm using
Yep.
Rotella anyways. It doesn't matter anyways.
Right. And that's, boy, ain't that the fucking truth, man.
I'm a big fan of buying the barrel of oil. I really want to get if it's like $325 for a barrel of Sunoco 10W30, like the stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you have enough oil for a lifetime of oil changes.
So Walmart was having a special last year, and they had somehow fucked the world up. I don't know how they did it. Walmart had screwed themselves over so bad that for the price, because you can buy weird stuff from Walmart, just letting you know. They have outside vendors that you wouldn't suspect that they had as outside vendors. And they had a special on 5-gallon jugs of Rotella.
Oh, yeah. I bought all of them.
I bought 24 of them.
That's what I took out to our SSRs. I brought the big one.
Absolutely. And it was cheaper to buy 55 gallons, 11 jugs of Rotella via the 5-gallon buckets than it was to buy it in an actual drum. Way cheaper.
That's cheap.
Plus, they shipped it for free. So the drum, you're looking at paying $100, $200 to have it shipped. Shows up on a pallet, giant pain in the dick for everybody. Yeah, if you ever moved a full barrel of oil, 55 times 8, the numbers get big real quick.
But I want that empty $10 worth of barrel of oil.
Look, the Rotella barrel and the Motul barrel and the Bel Ray barrel are sexy barrels. If you're gonna have a bum fire, it feels really good to stand around a Bel Ray oil drum. It just
for about 20 minutes until it
they
burns
smell
right
good.
the fuck off.
Yeah, until the logo burns off the side. Absolutely. And that's, so I guess what I'm getting at is when you can buy oil that way, and if you're vigilant and you do see somebody make a huge mistake, because the difference between me buying 55 gallons of Walmart oil in a drum, right, and me buying 55 gallons of Walmart oil in 5-gallon containers that they ship to my house for free, right, I saved like $250. Mm-hmm. Now, most consumers aren't going to go through 55 gallons of oil, but most consumers will go through 5 gallons. And if you get 5 gallons in of Rotella T6, that's pretty fucking handy. And if you think that you can't handle a 5-gallon jug because 40 pounds is really going to be more than you can handle, then have your neighbor come over and pour it in your motorcycle. Get a funnel, whatever. Turkey baster. There's all good ways to get around that. So yeah, it is.
The Honda oil isn't too expensive if you go on Amazon. I bought a gallon. It was like $23.50 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you go to an auto parts store and buying the auto parts store brand is still $20 a gallon. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that.
And to Phil's thing, at the Walmart last year on the website, they had a mistake, and this is where I got mine. Mm-hmm. They had a mistake. So one 5-galloner was, I don't know what, $55 or $50.
Rotella 6 is like $69.99, give or take.
Somewhere around there, right?
Yep.
Well, and then they said, or buy 2 for $59.99.
Oh yeah,
it was like 2 for 1.
That was the deal. That was the deal at Walmart.
Yeah,
the deal
I
at
bought
Walmart
like
was
4 of those fuckers, man.
Buy one, get one. And that was the deal. You could buy it as a single pack of 5 gallons for $59.99, or you could buy it as a double pack of 5 gallons for $59.99.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a mistake
it's
or
the
what.
same jug. They were literally just shrink wrapped together.
Yeah.
So it was a 5-gallon jug, but it was shrink wrapped to another 5-gallon jug.
Yep.
And
who did the copy work on that?
Somebody who
fucked up big time.
Yeah.
Those must have been bottled way back when, in the beginning of COVID, when oil went to negative $2 a barrel or something.
Get this shit out of here.
That's that negative $2 stuff, man. We got to get rid of that.
It is, and Rotella and Shell also always has a coupon. So you can always look in Shell's website. They'll always have a coupon for Rotella because it's T6. It's their premium product. And so they usually have a $10 coupon. So that's something that you can snag onto if you are looking at purchasing oil for your motorcycle or for your scooter or for who gives a shit what it is. The only thing you can't put it in is a fucking 2-stroke.
Well,
so,
and
honestly, I think you can.
But one of the other good parts about Rotella, and this came from the Adventure Rider dudes, is that since it is a diesel truck oil, you can find it all over the place.
Yes, and exactly right. Yeah, and you guess if you want to read fucking bullshit engineering marketing nerd shit, Rotella T6 is covered in it. But the point being that you're just like, look, it's gonna fucking work, and it is gonna work. And I'm sure right now, like you said, somebody's fucking super angry at us. Yeah, beating the fucking keyboard to death.
That was a lot of talking about oil.
It was. There's more talking about oil than we ever normally do here.
What? I can summarize the oil argument, though. Like everybody's like, oh, I had a bike for 30 years and I used this oil, and like this guy, oh, I had this for 5 years and it blew mine up. Well, there's guys that are 105 that drank whiskey and smoked every night, and then there's guys that died at 35. So you know,
it's so true. And again, we have a customer that came in that swears up and down, like absolutely is completely convinced that his motor blew up because the wrong oil. Right?
It had oil in it?
Completely convinced the motor blew up because he had the wrong oil in it. And James put it very succinctly. We would have tested it, but there was none in it.
Yeah.
We can't test what isn't there.
Right.
So unless you drained all the oil out of it before you brought it into us, which you wrote in,
Oh no.
it wasn't the oil. The oil didn't blow your motor up.
The lack of it.
The lack of oil blew your fucking motor up. Right. Yeah. I mean, I have been the difference, the true definition of any port in a storm is when you're on a cross country trip on your motorcycle or something that, you know, resembles like I had an idea and now I'm 2,000 miles from home. And you check your dipstick and you're like, and smoke. Right. And you're like, okay, I need fucking oil. Well, I have been the guy that has gone to the dumpster behind the gas station and grabbed all the plastic bottles and just poured a little bit of whatever was left in the bottom of each bottle. And I would have gone through a dumpster, no questions asked. The gas station's closed and just, you get a half an ounce out of 20 bottles, you're good to go. Yeah. Yeah. It takes a while. And you get kind of a Heinz 57 blend, you know, it's a nice semi-synthetic 5W90. It's perfect. Yeah.
So that sort of works sometimes.
Got me from Texas to home. Yeah. And I continued to check the dipstick after I did that.
Do you remember the old commercials? They don't have them anymore because I think they all got sued.
Are we still talking about oil?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, motherfucker.
Cinch always has one more story.
Well, it reminded me. Do you remember when they do the advertisements? It's like so good, and they'd a thing and they'd drain all the oil out.
Yes.
It's like you can run it for 5 hours. Right?
Yeah,
And it was like complete bullshit. And so people were like, "Oh fuck it, okay, I'll do it."
All that Teflon shit.
Yeah. Remember that?
All the Teflon shit.
And
everybody was just Teflon.
Yeah.
And then of course, what did we learn? Teflon's really fucking bad for you.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, it's got slick snot 50 in it or whatever. We're putting pure Teflon in your oil.
Yeah. Z50 and Z and all the.
Where's all that oil? Where's all that Teflon going to be turned into vapor? A foot under my dick. Where is my exhaust gases from my engine? Right. Where's my engine venting? Under my asshole. Yeah. So when I'm sitting on my bike,
don't breathe through your asshole.
All of the fucking Teflon that's coming out of this stuff and everything is literally just going where? Into my fucking nose holes.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's going up under my helmet and then killing my future babies.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why my kids are going to have tentacles. Because they fucking got...
You're not having any kids.
I'm not having any kids. It's like Houdini and Jesus.
He keeps putting his testicles all over me. Yep. You mean tentacles? Big difference.
Big difference. It is, my 2 children. Houdini and...
You saw that.
Yeah.
Better Off Dead? Come on.
Dude, if you haven't seen Better Off Dead, that's a tough one you got there. But I feel like in the motorcycle community that more friendships have been sacrificed over, questions about chain lube and oil and fucking dark side in your tires and
Whoa.
Scott's
Get
Oilers.
deep real quick.
You get some old men together. You get some fucking 70-year-old dudes with BMWs together talking about Scott's Oilers, and you got yourself an afternoon right there.
Fuck yeah.
I shared some of my premium chain lube with Cinch out of the property
You did.
too.
Yeah. It's the reclaimed oil chain lube.
That was the oil out of the generator in a half-gallon milk jug. I poked a nice little hole in it so you can dispense it on.
And it's cool because the viscosity, like you hold it and it just goes. Guess what? That was better than nothing on those chains. I'll tell you that.
It's clinging well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, again, it fucking works, man.
Mm-hmm.
It just fucking works. We are now at the official winter storage part of our season. Mm-hmm. And if you go into my service department, we're definitely in the working on vintage shit because you've seen more fucking, like when we shot the Moto Stories for Halloween, every bike on every lift was a vintage bike.
Yeah, it looked good for
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. We are two totally different shops, winter versus summer.
Yeah.
And all of the winter storage bikes are coming in. But the one dude who brought the BMW in, R9T, he brought us a track stand because the R9T has a single-sided swing arm with a big hole in the middle you can shoot a cat through. And he brought the pit bull stand for it so it wouldn't be leaning on its side stand over the winter. Oh, fucking baller. He put boat gas in it. He put ethanol-free fuel in it. Like this guy... When I talked to him on the phone, he's like bringing his bike in for winter storage. I was like, well, we do this and we do this and we do this. And he's like, no, so hold on. I did that. Like he was fucking awesome. And he's like, I got my adapter for my battery tender. Would you like me to bring my battery tender? Would you like me to use your battery tender? What battery tender do you use? And I was like, well, we use Optimates around here where the battery tender is more of a generic term. Oh, that's good. Cause I was going to bring my own Optimate. Oh, nerd. So I love this guy. I was like, you're fucking awesome, man. You're awesome. And again, I rode the R9T today. I've owned those. They hurt. Like they're one of those motorcycles. It's beautiful to look at. But then when you ride it, you're like, oh God, this is just like, there's so many wrong things happening here at the same time, but it's so beautiful.
Which
The BMW R9T.
I saw it in the back of the pickup truck when I was coming home from work. You must have been hauling it over to the
I was
warehouse.
taking it over to the warehouse, yeah. And that's the BMW R9T has been this like, I'm sorry, did I hear you say Cafe Racer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And somebody's like, yeah, you heard me say Cafe Racer 3 fucking years ago. And BMW went, well, we just showed up, man. Give us a break. So yeah, the BMW R9T is BMW's oil head motor, so it's still a boxer.
More of a bistro racer. It's higher caliber than Cafe
Racer. Look, man, they call it a Cafe Racer. It has a little button on the dashboard, so if it breaks down, they send a helicopter for you. But so yeah, this is the BMW R9T. The R9T has come in. What did we call it? It came from the factory with knobbies on it.
Oh yeah.
And
It was the Urban Scrambler or some shit. Didn't they call it that? Or the
it was the Turbine. The Turbine. It was the R9T Urban. Oh, so we called it the R9 Turbine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the R9 Turbine. Yeah.
I think BMW engineers just were looking at Craigslist. They're like, we could do this.
Exactly.
They kept seeing
well,
all
what
the
happened
old-
is the first guy saw a picture of a Moto Guzzi Grigio and went, we also have 2 cylinders.
Yeah.
And then everybody else went, oh, cool. Does it need to carry a passenger? And they went, not really.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is going to be more for the guy who's already arrived and his wife's, getting her hair done or something. And, he's going to go on 1 ride a month. So fuck it. They're amazing bikes. They're super fun. And
Do they come with brown leather jackets?
Only. Are you kidding me? But they did this one. And so this is one of those ones. This is the R9T Racer, which is just beautiful. It's a gorgeous motorcycle until you sit on it. And then you sit on it and you're like, what the fuck? Who pissed you off, BMW? Like, where on the doll did the man touch you is everything about the fucking R9T.
See, and so everybody always talks about like one of the best things you can do is go to a dealership and sit on bikes to know.
Oh, yeah.
It's also one of the worst things you
Yes,
can do
it
because
is.
I assumed that the Z900 was going to be as uncomfortable as that fucking thing.
Right.
And so I just resigned to not getting one. And then there happened to be one at a dealership and I sat on it and I'm like, fuck, this thing doesn't suck.
God damn it doesn't suck. I hate that it doesn't suck. Yeah.
But I assumed it was going to be because that thing's terrible. You have to be like 22 to sit on one of those things, man.
The R9T is one of those ones that, again, I don't care. The motor is a great motor. The transmission is a fine transmission. Your output shaft and your final drive will self-destruct every 60,000 miles because it's a BMW and they just do that. And that's part of owning one. But I mean, that bike, so that was the one I had, was a 2015. It's a great looking bike. It's a beautiful bike. But there were problems. They took the front end off of their S1000RR, which is a racing motorcycle. And they didn't consult the rest of the engineering team if they thought that was a decent idea or not. So, anytime you'd ride the thing, you just didn't have any front suspension at all to speak of. But it's one of those motorcycles. And today was one of those days where you're talking about winter storage, where you just get to visit some of these bikes that you've been like, wow, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. And and it's fun. You know, it's like the winter storage thing, and you go over to the warehouse, and right now we're just kind of pushing them at the warehouse, and then I'm going to go over there and organize everything and make it all pretty. But it right now, if you look in the warehouse, you're like, if I was rich, this could be my garage. And you're like, we've got a Moto Guzzi, California with all the bags on it. We've got like, honestly, I could just be like, okay, yeah, your bikes are in storage, Chris. It's fine. And where'd Phil go? Oh, he went away. Yeah. He went away. He had a 21-foot trailer and he just fucked off. I wonder how many miles were on my bike when I put it in storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys changed the oil while you had it, made sure it didn't go bad. Yeah, your oil's great. Needs tires though.
We had to change it twice.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
My bike didn't show up with white walls.
you got it on jack stands, running it in reverse, trying to get the miles.
Take the miles off. Yeah.
Bueller.
So
That doesn't work.
there's a question for you.
Yeah.
Why not drain the oil on a bike for winter?
Okay.
I think the biggest problem with that would be to you forget to fill it back up. So if you're going to do something like that,
That's a good reason.
but I also think too,
I mean,
keeping it's not like the whole engine.
You know what, Chris? I've got a great statement for you. I'll make a declarative statement. Do drain your oil for the winter. And then take one more step, which is to replenish it with new oil. Right? Problem solved. You've done the first thing.
Yeah.
And you've modified it, making it better. So we know that draining the oil out would be a good thing to do if you then did things to make sure that the lack of oil didn't cause you a problem like seals, getting hard and stuff like that. So then do the other thing, and that is put fresh oil in it, which everybody should do before they store their bike. And then also fog it, as we talked about before, with fogging oil and stuff like that.
Well, what about this? So what if you went and just bought some cheap shit oil, whatever, and you filled the fucking motor up.
Yep.
And left it over with
or kerosene.
Or something.
Yeah. I had a customer do that once. And he thought the best way to winter store his bike was he filled the entire thing up with kerosene.
Well, I'm not saying all the way. I don't know.
No. Hey, it is a great way to preserve your motorcycle.
But you
Rust can't start there.
You got to remember to.
You have to tell everybody on the planet that you've done that.
Yeah.
So if you're planning on dying in the next kind of year or so.
Right.
Your kids should know about that.
Well,
because eventually when they bring the motorcycle to me to work on it and shit, and I'm like, okay, well, let's put a battery on it. Let's just see if there's any compression. Let's just have at it, baby. If your motor's full of fucking non-compressible engine oil and I spin that thing and the top end's full of non-compressible engine oil, guess who's going to bend a crank? Yeah. Guess who's going to bend a rod? Unkie Phil. Yeah.
Oh, the SEC racing guys, my buddy Ray, you know Ray.
I know Ray.
When they store their cars, they take the water out of the motors, but then they put a big sticker, no water.
Yeah,
because they're not going to drive it all winter, and they don't use antifreeze.
Yes. Yes to all the above.
You better lock out, tag out that thing.
Lock out, tag out. That's right. Hide the keys in the coolant, whatever the fuck you got to do. But seriously.
I zip tie my keys. Well, it doesn't work on this bike, but right? It doesn't fucking fob, right? It fucking sucks. But honest to God, I used to whenever I did the oil changes, I just zip tie the keys, so that way it's like I gotta cut it. Why the fuck are they zip tied?
I have a couple of customers that are definitely of the camp of I'm going to change my oil in November, and I'm going to change my oil in April. So it gets new oil before it goes to bed. And it gets new oil when it wakes up from bed and does not drive a mile in between those two.
Yeah, they got money. Good for them.
They swear by it. And I'm like, then why are you using synthetic?
Yeah.
On the front end, right? If you're going to throw it away anyway, right?
Whatever you want.
Right. And
I think you should actually run the bike for a minute.
Yeah.
Because if you're putting the new oil in there, shouldn't you take it for a quick little ride to let the new oil get into the clutch and rinse off the oils,
Absolutely. Put fresh oil in it in November.
Or if you do that,
call back.
You have plenty of oil for your lawnmowers and all the other bullshit you don't care about in the spring. You can use that motor oil for that.
Oh, my fucking lawnmowers.
Most of my mowers just get used motor oil anyway.
Yeah, that's all my mowers have ever had is fucking Motul or, Bel Ray or whatever. It doesn't,
if I change them at that.
Are we still talking about oil?
Once a mower?
That's just it, right?
How often do you change oil in your mower?
You
once
got
a mower?
joke about it or something?
I've never changed oil in my snowblowers, and I've never changed it in my lawnmowers.
Me neither.
Oh, man.
I've added it.
But you don't need to because they don't get enough hours on them. I mean,
True.
They don't need to.
10 minutes a month.
And now they're all electric, so.
It's electric, yeah. Speaking of electric shit.
Oogie. Got him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Boogie Oogie.
John fucked me over, and I was a guy that had red tools. I used to own red tools, and some of you know what it means. All my tools were red. All my electric tools were red. Okay? Yeah, I was a big fan of Milwaukee, right? And my whole world was based on an M12 operating system or an M24 operating system. Yeah. God damn it. But John made the mistake of getting me like the inflator mouse, like the Ryobi inflator thing. Badass. And he got me the drill kit and everything else. And so I have unfortunately learned how to speak green. Okay. And so in case anybody hasn't been paying attention, due to advanced consumer marketing and taking advantage of dads, Ryobi has 255 attachments.
What?
Yeah. So based around a battery system of 18 volts or 40 volts, they have 255 attachments. Not for their Dremel tool. No, 255 attachments for their battery. They have 6 different leaf blowers. You need one, right? Okay. But here's the trick. And this is the freebie from your Unkie Phil.
Hi, my name's Leaf.
Hey, buddy. So here's the freebie from your Unkie Phil.
Leave me alone.
This little bad mamma jamma, when it first came out, come on, baby, you can do it. I promise you can get it right there, right now. So the Ryobi, this thing sits on top of your 18-volt battery, and it's a fucking Dremel. Okay, it's a corded Dremel. Now, they make one of these where the battery is in the hand, like...
Yeah.
So you have this handle that's the size of an electric toothbrush, but then you got this 2-pound fucking battery on the end of it, which is kind of insane. Yeah. Okay. This is the one you want to have. So this is the one that has the cord going to the power supply. The motor is in the handle. So the motor's not in the base unit.
So is this your Christmas list or what are we going to do?
We're not talking Christmas. So we can do one of those later, but I'm telling you guys, this exists in the world. And for $39 fucking dollars, you are going to thank me, because
that's the thing about Ryobi. When I looked at that, well, first of all, that inflator, my buddy had one, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Phil needs this at the shop. You can buy the inflator itself is like 30-something bucks, right? But you have to buy a drill and an impact. I bought a drill and an impactor to get the batteries. But once you have a set of batteries and a charger, the world's your oyster for all the...
And so if you haven't been converted yet to Team Green and you need a battery and a charger, so you take an extra $30 and it goes from $39 to $69 and you get a charger and a battery, right? The small.
That might be one of the cheapest ways to get a battery.
That is the cheapest way to buy a charger and a battery, by the way, is getting the battery and a charger as something built into the Ryobi rotary tool, because that rotary tool without the battery, that exact tool today is $79.95. That sale on that item starts in 3 days. So podcast listeners, this has already happened.
Right.
But for us, that item is not on store shelves yet at that price of $39.99. You go buy it today, it's $79.
And don't forget, Black Friday's coming up, so there's going to be all kinds
This is one of those things. So this is one of those items that qualifies as that. But if you were thinking, you know what, fuck it, I need a rotary tool, because I bought the Ryobi soldering iron.
That's what I was going to ask you. You mentioned that.
Yeah, so I bought the Ryobi soldering iron, which I have the Milwaukee soldering iron, which has an M12 battery in it, which lasts about 11 minutes, right? And it works good, and it's good for tight spots and getting into weird places and stuff like that. It's when you might not want to use a butane soldering iron, or you don't like, because sometimes some of the butane soldering irons don't get very spicy, and so you need that heat. And with the...
And you also have to watch, they also have heat that comes out the side.
Yeah, my fingers can attest to that.
Butane soldering irons work on a Venturi principles. So air comes in one side, fire gets made, and then air goes out the side. And if you put your finger down there, it's good for shrink wrap, bad for fingertips. Really cool. It works great on shrink wrap, works really bad on fingertips. So that's a big fucking deal. Well, I got the Ryobi base station, like a welding station, like you have at your desk, but instead it's just a welding station that sits on top of the 18-volt battery. Yay. So it's like there. So you could use whatever size battery you like to use, and you're ready, and it's game on. And it is the fucking best soldering iron I have ever used. And all of the Weller tips fit it. So if you're cheap like I am, and you have 26 Weller tips, because you've been using Weller irons your whole fucking life since you were 12 years old or whatever, then these tips all go on. And that's what I think was really smart that Ryobi did, was they made a soldering system that uses those exact cheapo tips, which you can get, 12 different tips for $20 or something. So really freaking smart.
Well, that's a really good tip.
It is a good tip. Hey, excellent. I do dig that. So I did have another product I wanted to bring out and show to our podcast listeners or podcast people and this is not a Christmas present. This is something you should have in your fucking toolbox.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What could it be? Is it going to be red?
I don't know. I think it's big. What is it?
Oh yeah, I saw those. Yeah, that's perfect.
Not Lego. I promise it's
Close
not
enough.
Lego.
It looks like Legos.
It's
from
not
here.
Lego. I'm going to hand these out.
I just bought these.
Yeah,
I got a couple different sets, right? I got the clear ones. I got
things
the
are
individuals
cool.
that slide together.
These things are so fun.
Yes.
Take one and pass it. It's just like communion.
Right.
Take them, pass them around.
Pass the D.
Just pass them around so everybody can kind of play with them.
I just started doing the electric work on my bike.
Yeah. So these little fuckers are time savers. Keep passing them.
Yeah.
Keep passing them.
And I mean,
fucker.
they,
I'm looking at
Just
them.
pass it. We'll play with them
You
later.
have some more.
Other people would like to look at them
How
too.
do you say keep passing in
and
Spanish?
they will hold fucking like tiny ass
So
wires.
does everybody
like-
have one yet?
I have one.
Chris, ready?
I like the Battlestar Galactica colors.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's crazy about these things? So the technical term for these, different manufacturers have made these, but what they are is they're spring-loaded splicing connectors, right? And what is magical about them? And I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up on the big screen, but you can jam a couple of 3-4 wires in there,
Or jelly.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And it holds like fucking shark's teeth.
Yeah.
They are so cool. Now, there's a company called Wago, and Wago makes the pretty ones. Wago makes, and they're not that expensive. You get 50 of them for $20 or whatever. And I'll pull up the picture of the Wago so you can see the Wago. And the Wago is the smallest, most low profile version of this. And they're fine. They all work exactly the same way. What I do find is difficult about the Wago is the tabs are really tiny. You almost need to have a tweaker.
You have to
get in there.
hold it open, Cinch. So like when you're sticking the wire, you have to hold the orange thing, stick it in, and let it go.
Open it all the way up.
All the way to 90,
All the way to
it'll
90.
stay.
Oh, you can pop it all the way
all the way
over.
to 90. That's
It
exactly
feels like it's
right.
going to break, but it won't.
It's not going to break, right? And so that's the Wago version we have up on the big screen right now. That's the Wago, and that
Hasta luego.
these things are okay. So you want to put some. You want a burned out taillight on your motorcycle? You got a burned out taillight. That's fine. You didn't run your wires right and the fucking tire ground through the wire under your taillight fixture. You just want to test the taillight and see if it's going to work on your fucking motorcycle. Grab these. No more twisting two wires together and putting a fucking wire nut on it. You fucking hillbillies. Don't ever come to my shop ever again.
That's horrible.
Get this fucking thing and you can get a whole boat of them for $20. Yep. And you can put many wires in there. And when you throw this bitch down, and Renee got herself the first time, she closed it on her finger, it hurts a little bit. Okay.
So wait, so the three, when you put a wire in here, is it
Oh,
connected?
Renee.
They're all the same.
They're all junction. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're junctioned.
So this, when it goes in here, it's connecting all of them together.
All of them are connecting all of them.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. One connector to rule them all.
Yes.
And so why these things are so fantastic is you got one or two of these in your toolbox and you break a wire somewhere, anywhere on your motorcycle,
Golden.
you're fucking golden. And
that's a good idea.
when they're in there, I don't care who you are. I don't care who taught you how to solder. It is not better than this. I gave one to James with two 18 gauge wires jammed into it. I was like, okay, here you go, dude. Tear it apart. Because the harder you pull it, the tighter it gets. And he pulled the insulation. He ripped the insulation off the fucking thing and never let go. I was like, okay, that is James tested, James approved. And I'm always looking for something that, and the trick is if you open both of them and you put your finger there and you push it down, it'll bite you. And it got Renee, and Renee fucking yelled at me because I handed it to her and I didn't tell her what it was. And I just handed it to her open, knowing full well that what was going to happen next. Yep, I got yelled at. So they call them lever nuts. Like there's all these different words for them. But this is one of my new favorite tools or new favorite devices. Because
Does it have anything that'll splice into a line without cutting the line? No.
Not side by side, but
You know, like we had the old 3M thing.
Yeah, the old
like
3Ms. Well, the speaker taps we used to call the 3M wire taps.
Right.
The problem with those is 51.3% of the time when you put a T-tap on the wire, it breaks the wire. It cuts through the wire.
right.
Yeah.
And you know, those are
I
the
see
plastic
what you're saying,
ones
like a
that have
vampire clip.
the guillotines on them.
Got
yeah.
it.
And that's one of those items that you're just like, God damn it, you know. It's clunky and you got to wrap the thing around it, and it's all just to do a splice without cutting and, you know, adding to it.
You don't want to lose your strands.
You don't want to lose your strands, exactly. And I've had more of those fail because it seems like every set of heated grips, every fucking set of fog lights and everything comes with those bullshit stereo splicers, right? Those taps. And they always cut the strands. They always damage it. And you're like, oh, well, all of a sudden we have this Honda Rebel that we had in the front. And we were like, well, the left rear turn signal works sometimes. Well, the guy had tapped in to some other part of the bike to get LED lights put in. And of course he used those fucking taps. And he used those taps and guess what, pal? You're fucked. So those taps are destructive. This is not destructive. This is going to work just fine for you.
And these come in different forms. So like the ones I just used are the open end, so displays two
straight?
wires.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So they're
perfect.
straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that they're nice. And they have side clips, so if you need like 3 or 4, they'll all join together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really nice. I got all kinds of them.
Yeah.
So you could cut the wire, put both ends in there, and then tap into it that way.
Like
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
trap thingy.
Quite
And these
literally.
things are rated
Finger
to
trap.
these are rated to 30 amps and 200 volts.
I was just gonna say, I
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah.
Really?
It's crazy how overjuiced they are, right? But that's just one of those things.
That's impressive, man.
It is really impressive. Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, these are a little toolbox tip that if you've ever worked with this shit, we've been on the side of the road. We understand. Yeah. There's times when you just are like, I'm just boned, and as opposed to. I mean, the kits, you can buy the kits of these things and you can give these out to all your friends because one kit, this is the one I'm pulling up right now. It's the Glue Toad. The Glue Toad lever wire connector compact spikes and kit. Dude, there are 30, 50, 60 connectors in there for $18, right? You can look, if you do, 16 goddamn dollars. That's fantastic. And they call them cage type, or of course, if you're smart, the butt terminal. Yeah. So the butt terminals are sexy. You know, if you're going to work in a row, you want to have the butt terminal, right? Yep. It's always look for, again, on the butt terminal. Yeah, that's Gazauda only.
I wonder if you might not even have to strip the wire when you put it in it because it has a.
It's got a guillotine built into it. Yeah. So, but that's one of those things. I mean,
think about that.
I wonder what it does if you don't even strip it. You just.
I'm gonna guess that it probably gets through it, but in this particular kit, it comes with a bitchin' wire stripper in there too. So in the kit.
Well, it wants you to strip them then.
Yeah. I mean, it comes with a wire stripper in it. It comes in like my first wire stripper. One of these deals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these are good when you're gonna do when you're doing a lot on the job site kind of thing. These are handy to have in your pocket to spin them and whatnot, but they're no substitute for a proper wire
probably
stripper.
the rating for the current, you're better off stripping it if it's
Of course,
just a point
I would
of pinching.
look, as long as I have a gap
But it would
between my
work.
teeth.
Yeah.
As long as I have this gap between my teeth, there's no wire in the world I'm not stripping. Fuck
Yoinks.
that. Yeah. God put that here for a reason. Yeah. Yep. It's not just so I can shoot water at unsuspecting people. It is a wire stripper. Yeah. My mom, the whole life, my mom was like, teeth are not tools, Philip. Teeth are not tools. And I was like, then why are they there? Why'd they put them inside my mouth, which is so clearly another thing to hold things with? Yeah. And why do they put them in my dick holster? I don't know.
That was the weird thing. I was just today at work, and I had the mask because I had to, and that thing came up because I was wiring some stuff, and all of a sudden I put the tool in my mouth and trying to hold it. And it's like, fucking mask.
Oh, you had your mask on?
Yeah. I was like, I need my third fucking hand. I can't put it in my mouth.
And it is literally, to people who work, I mean, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, if you come into my shop, I probably have at least 4 or 5 screws in my mouth. Right. I was
going to say, you've been doing this for a while. If you can tell the difference between blue and red Loctite flavor.
By the flavor?
Yep. So one pro tip when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Do not put shrink tubing in your mouth.
Oh, really?
That thing is disgusting.
Oh, shrink
the
wrap.
taste will
shrink
not
wrap
leave,
tastes pretty bad. Yeah,
will not leave you
shrink
for
wrap
a
tastes
week.
terrible.
See, Loctite's pretty good. It's kind of sweet.
It is sweet. Loctite is crazy
Must
sweet.
have some glycerin.
Loctite tastes good.
It does.
I mean, I'll be the first to tell you. If you're listening to this podcast,
is good.
Red Loctite tastes good. It does. It's crazy. I mean, it's kind of shocking how sweet it is.
It is.
Yeah.
I always wondered if it was just sugar. Like they spent all this money and it's just they
just sell you 1/10 of an ounce of sugar for $9.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's sugar
With red food coloring to keep it emulsified.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
I would probably like that because I remember being like in junior high and soldering stuff.
Yeah.
I love the smell of flux.
Flux
burning.
Yeah. Flux
It
is
smells so fucking good. And I was like, Loctite doesn't sound that
That's
bad.
actually how they put you into nerd classes.
Exactly.
They hand you a soldering iron and flux, and if you're
Just
like,
like burn shit.
yep, you can put this football jersey out for somebody else. Oscar's going into
He's sniffing the flux.
all right, that's cool. A little STEM for this guy over here. There you go, a little STEM classes action for him. That's
Nerd
right.
badge.
Yeah, won't worry about any of the sports teams at all for this guy. No, we're good to go. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, and this is it. I spent my entire high school career between the shop and band. So, I mean, and in my high school, they were on opposite sides of the building. So I would routinely be seen at maximum velocity getting from industrial tech to the band room and not stopping at any classes in between. It was like, history. When am I going to need that? Yeah. Civics? Fuck civics.
It already passed.
Right.
Algebra? Nuh-uh. Got a multimeter.
I still use my tuba skills every fucking day.
Yeah. All that sousaphone training really paid off. Bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I bought a Yamaha piano. I bought a Yamaha keyboard because I just wanted to like have it at the house so I can just noodle through some stuff. And I only bought it because it was broken. Mm-hmm. I didn't buy a musical instrument I could play. I bought a musical instrument I could take apart and fix. I bought a broken keyboard because I wanted a broken keyboard. Sure. That was it. And my wife hates it. Like my wife is just like, "What the fuck is that smell?" And I'm like, that's Oscar's favorite cologne. I'm soldering. I'm soldering in the living room. The cat's dragging his tail across my hot soldering iron.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah. This is, my cocktail table in my dining room is spring loaded, so it goes up to be like a dining height table. It's IKEA, and it does things. It does many things. But I've got this giant Yamaha keyboard, 88 full keys set up there, and I've got it all taken apart. 900 screws in a metal tin. Magnetic. I've got all the cool shit there. I've made myself a little workstation and I can watch YouTube at the same time.
Nice.
So I'm like, and that's also where I eat my meals.
I'm surprised it's been there though, because you have cats.
Yeah.
Like Mike, anytime I have something on a table, the cat's like,
well, and that's the magic of the IKEA table, because when they knock it off, it just goes into the storage area of the IKEA table. Oh. Yeah. They can't knock it off the way of the keyboard. They knock it off into the storage bin of the other side. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why it's perfect. So it is. And again, if your wife is so accommodating to let you turn the cocktail table into, but it's COVID. Nobody's been to our fucking house ever since it all started. For 18 months, we could be just naked in there all the time and nobody would ever fucking know. The cats don't care. They just don't give a shit. Yeah, we didn't turn the heater on until the other day, and it was just because we couldn't get the cats off of us. Yeah, we're like, we got to turn the heat on. We can't go anywhere. When we are considering what we're going to be doing, I think we need to make a Porco trip.
yes.
Yeah.
So today, when Chris and I were doing our recon at Porco, we clarified it with management that we are given the green light to have our podcast there next week. Nice. So it will be a cocktail-fueled podcast.
Okay. So we'll bring the Tanukis to...
They have them there.
Oh, fucking A.
Arrangements have been made.
Of course they have.
Yeah, arrangements have been made.
That's one
I think the rule is going to be Cleveland Moto guys only drink out of Tanukis from now on, period. But yeah, we're going to have to figure out. But the room is wonderful. It's the sex room. Yeah. Straw goes in his neck.
Okay.
Well, you see, he's got a tracheostomy. Yeah. So he's got a tracheotomy hole right there, so you can just kind of like breathe. You can smoke a little cigarette through there, just like my grandpa
would be
did.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, the dry ice coming up through it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Right.
So
that's exactly it. Yeah. My grandpa was a cowboy. That's cool. Anybody got anything else? No. We got to get fucking Smith to come back here and tell us a joke.
I know. What is he doing over there?
I don't know. I think he availed himself to the little boys' room.
Oh, yeah. It could have been.
So I just noticed on the mug itself, actually the nutsack stores like half of the amount of
the balls.
Yeah, the balls are hollow. So
the balls are actually going to be full of delicious liquor.
Oh yeah.
Look at all that prosperity.
Look at all that prosperity. That's right.
Give it a rub.
And a tummy to exemplify wealth and trustfulness, I guess was what they were saying. So yeah.
And the promissory note.
The promissory note and a bottle of booze. Gotta love the Tanuki. We're getting a lot of firepower on the comments about the Tanuki too.
Yeah,
so,
let's what's out there and what's the chatter?
Let's go ahead. I'm going to go give you a second. I'll just go ahead and pull it up real quick. So,
right, well, you're pulling that up.
Yep.
Let me announce this week's sponsor, Moto Stories with Unkie Phil, which is 1 year old this coming week.
No shit. Yeah, that's badass.
So any listener out there that hasn't gone and subscribed, you're doing yourself a disjustice.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? It's free. It don't cost nothing.
Disjustice sounds more severe.
I agree. Yep, it does.
You dissed yourself.
You disjusticed yourself. Because it is a silly, and look, the Moto Stories thing, eventually, if you listen to this podcast, you might be a future Moto Stories.
Yeah.
Because Pete, MotoGP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Moto Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There is, your shenanifoolery, your Tom shenanigans.
Will come up.
It's all going to come back to haunt you. I guarantee it. We are going. Look, we take stupid on the road every time we go.
We take pride knowing that nobody that's been on Moto Stories can run for political office.
No, never.
It's a requirement.
No. Yeah. You guys, those of you who are here today, we're bullshitting around before the podcast and we're talking to Renee and like,
Dearly beloved.
That like the $1 million get is going to be getting Renee on a Moto Stories.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's never going to happen.
Never. John, you're right. You're absolutely right. The only thing we better hope is that
she turned down a $50,000 Discovery Channel deal.
She did. That's not wrong.
I haven't asked her nicely yet.
Right. Well, again, we just need to hope that she takes back up recreational drinking.
Good luck with that.
If she takes back up recreational drinking. Yeah.
She did say if we're gonna do the Porco one next week, she wants to be there.
Yeah. Oh, she does?
Yeah. She was like, I want to be there. I was like, let's make this happen.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do a mashup. I'll bring the cameras. Like,
you know what? You know what? If anybody could do it, this guy.
Yeah, that's true. It is true.
Oscar could get it.
Yeah, he's a very, very good. He's a very good coercer. Yeah, yeah. He's a very, very good at that.
That's such a good point of view because she's witnessed so much debauchery that she has a different angle.
She knows where all the skeletons.
She knows where all. Boy, ain't that the fucking truth?
She's unfireable, isn't she?
She's she's
HR.
Again,
she is HR.
You don't fire your HR director.
Okay. It's not going to be James taking care of his porn stash when he dies.
The fleshlight.
It is seriously. We have a family operation. This shop, as anybody who's been around here knows long enough, that there is the worst part about getting hired at this place would be being like, shit. Like my own family isn't going to dig. When we hired Sparky because he has crossed lightsabers on his back, right? He's covered in Jedi tattoos. You never know it.
Right.
He goes to church every Sunday. He's a minister, he runs the youth program and everything else. Like when we met him, I just noticed a hint of Jedi on him. And I was like, we're cool with tattoos. We're cool with drug use. We're cool. Oh, so he's like, yeah, I wasn't sure because I got a bunch of tattoos. And I was like, okay, great. And then he starts like, all of his tattoos are all Star Wars inspired. And I was like, this is great, man. You're going to fit right in over here, man. This is cool. You want to work on motorcycles and you're a dork? Perfect. Bring it on. And he's like, yeah, I never worked on a scooter or anything, but I was like, it doesn't matter. But he was literally the king of blush. He was the king of like we do the shit we do around here and we're going to be like, we've corrupted the shit out of that guy. Like he's horrible. He is like in the top 2 of people at my shop that say things that just you wouldn't expect it. And And it's because it's like the thing. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I get yelled at home. I get yelled at church. Because the things that come out of my mouth. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you spend 40 fucking hours a week here with us.
Yeah.
John knows it's a weird environment. It's very much like, hey, if you want to let your freak flag fly a little bit, you can do that. Yeah.
But now instead of hanging out with all you guys, he gets to hang out with Steve and shit.
I always find a new weird environment.
Yeah. After Cleveland Moto, after POC, he's always like, we can turn up the weird on this. Yeah. And that's about working with Steve.
Yeah.
And at this point, John's like, if a UFO fucking landed in front of that place tomorrow and took Steve away, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, it would be the moon, because Steve told us that the moon is a spaceship, so that's where they're going to come from.
It's totally fucking hollow, don't you?
It's all fake, man.
The Nazis built it. It's the 2nd foot far.
So wait, do we have a joke now?
Do we have a joke? Is there a joke?
I got nothing.
Oh, you got no
waiting
jokes?
for you.
Oh my God.
Settle down.
Make one up.
Oh my fucking God.
I didn't get home tonight.
Oh, that's right. He didn't. He went to Porco for pre-gaming. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one. So
disappointment.
Yeah, nothing in my pocket.
Yeah, nothing hidden. Right, nothing hidden. Yeah.
There were 30 cows and 28 chickens. How many were left?
Oh my God! I thought that was actually going somewhere.
It is, and it's a very stupid joke. I'm not even want to.
Oh my God!
It's a play on. Oh yeah, there's not 28 chickens. 20 of the cows ate
Spoiler.
chickens, so there's only 10 left.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
You tried.
What kind of bike does a comedian ride? A Yamaha.
All right, and on that note.
Fuck you all. I just put that in your brain. And you're going to remember that. That's going to stick. You're going to tell that to other people. Yeah. That's yours. That's my gift to you. Fuck you. Ride fast and take chances. Bum, 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 bum.